Evening. The Fan Forum is back, and we are joined by the lads. It's been a long time since I've seen, and we spoke all been on the camera at the same time. Many things have happened. The Sharks have had a woeful URC season since then. The Boks are officially the best team in the world. What else is happening? The Lions are going to win the Currie Cup. Sasha Zulu is the second coming. It's been a busy few months since we've all got back together. But as you can see, I am joined by Kel, Dan, and Rudes at the bottom there. Gentlemen, how are we all? How are we feeling?
Very positive for this week. Cannot take anything but positivity into this test. Secretly nervous, but not telling any of the All Blacks fans that.
No. Yeah, I think to be fair, I think a lot of people are feeling a bit like that. You know, all the chat about us being so good at the moment, and all the depth, and everyone's talking us up, and Razor's talking about how Rassi's the benchmark and he's so awesome, and it's so prime for us to then just not rock up on Saturday and then all the sort of the rhetoric will change. But basically, coming up in the show, we're going to be talking about this weekend. We're going to be going through the teams. We're going to be talking about both games because we've got two Rugby Championship games in obviously South Africa versus New Zealand, the big one, as well as Argentina versus Australia. A bit of a late one, depending where you are in the world. We've also got some Currie Cup. We'll have a bit of a check-in over there because we have to have a check-in when the Lions are doing well. I've got to enjoy my season before the URC and stuff starts. So we will do a bit of a check-in there. And at the end, we're going to give our score predictions and sort of see where everyone is and how everybody's feeling. So before we look at the team and stuff like that, Rudes, I'm going to throw it to you first up. 2 wins against Australia, 2 pretty comfortable victories, a Springbok side that's rotating, trying to play attacking rugby. Things are definitely progressing. Life's been pretty good as a Bok fan. How are you feeling just generally as a Bok fan, and what's the feeling for this weekend?
I think, considering our record against New Zealand coming off the final last year, it was pretty close, obviously, but I think there's a sense of nervous excitement within me. There's obviously confidence that the Boks are actually a little bit more evolved than they were in that final last year, bringing on board the likes of Tony Brown. I think the Springboks are in a really good place. For the All Blacks, the thing for me where the nervous excitement comes in is I think it wasn't since 2009 we haven't been able to go three games on the trot against New Zealand. So they'll be coming out firing. All the talk about altitude, Ellis Park, iconic stadium, they're going to come out guns blazing. They've got a new coach. They've got a point to prove, and they've picked actually a very good side. And on paper, are in terms of caps, a little bit more experienced than the Boks. But then again, the confidence side of things is Rassi's always cooking up something special. And we're evolving to the next World Cup, but this is a major test for the year. The Irish were big. But I think New Zealand is going to be the real test, and it's back-to-back weekend. So nervous excitement, but confident at the same time.
Yeah, I think that whole idea of Chef Rassi and he's been cooking up a lot so far. Carl, you're a bit of a neutral in terms of not being a Bok fan. So I suppose we kind of judge about how confident we are. As a neutral or as somebody who plays against the Boks, when you look at the Springbok side, what is the sort of your initial thoughts about it?
This is probably one of my favorite Springbok sides, or rather this kind of era of Springbok rugby, because for me, certainly when I was growing up in South Africa, the whole thing about the Springboks was, you could only play rugby if you were big. And you look at the backline, it's not a big backline, but god damn are they talented. And there, your back three. Okay, Fussy, yes, there's an argument for him, but Colby and Arendse are probably the 2 best wingers in the world. And they're tiny, but they do things that is far. They punch so far above their weight that you don't even notice. So yeah, I really like this new look team, or rather, not totally new look team, but I like the changes that have been made in adding some youth to it, rather.
Yeah, it's an interesting sort of balance that we have to have because, and I think I continue to grapple with this whole idea of previously, because of so many different reasons, that World Cup cycle 2019 to 2023 was purely World Cup based, or British and Irish Lions, then World Cup based, because we didn't have that 1 year of rugby, then the British and Irish Lions. This is a very different World Cup cycle because we've got 3 genuine years of just straightforward incoming series, Rugby Championship, outgoing series, incoming series, Rugby Championship, outgoing series. Even that All Blacks tour, for example, I don't think is going to happen until after the next World Cup potentially. So Dan, I mean, we are seeing youth coming into it. We're obviously also not binning a lot of the old guard. You know, Kobus Reinach starting on Saturday, I think probably the perfect example of the fact that just because, you know, you are 30 plus, 32, 34 even, you're not being binned yet. And Rusty's very much saying, prove to me that you can still play at this level, because, you know, we saw Deon Free last year play, maybe become the oldest Springbok to debut ever, play a massive role in the World Cup final. You know, and so there's no need to sort of bin all the players. So how much have you enjoyed being able to see, first, I mean, obviously the youngsters, you know, your Sashas, your Fussies, your Albert Lowe's, you know, the likes of those, but as well as still giving other sort of older players a chance and having that kind of hybrid approach of the experience next to the youth?
Yeah, it's been interesting to see which players Rassie has, you know, binned. For example, you know, Trevor essentially is now, it seems like he's played his last game in a Bok jersey. You know, even obviously Deon Free also out of the picture now. You know, the likes of Dwayne Vermeulen just, you know, are still in a Springbok jersey, but now on the training side of things, on the side of the pitch. But I do find it interesting, particularly now with this lock crisis, and we spoke about it earlier this week. But that Marvin Orie hasn't been brought back. And I personally think that was really, really sad, just because I think he had an outstanding season in a Bok jersey, and I think he would slot right in and be able to help. I guess, you know, Rassie has taken the approach of blooding these players. He's throwing, you know, Ruan Nokia, who wasn't even in the initial squad, just straight kind of to the Wolves. Sasha Ngomezulu hadn't played a test match for the Springboks before this year and is now starting against the All Blacks. You know, in the biggest game of the year, essentially. So it's been interesting to see which players he picks and chooses to take on their responsibility. And then you have someone like Apelele Fassi, who's just demanded that. I mean, the same goes for Sasha, right? Given the opportunity, and now they're there, whereas you've seen one or two others, you know, maybe you and your Lions boys, the Hendrikse and Mona van der Berg, who haven't been able to take their chances.
Yeah, I think that's been interesting. And I think we really are seeing form being rewarded, and you know, Ben Jason Dixon being sort of one of the key examples of that. Somebody who's been brought in. He's really had. I mean, he's not a young. I mean, I think he's about 26, 27 years old. So he's not old, but he's been around the block, and only recently come through really at the Storm, has become a key player. Now made the progression, and he's been rewarded with a start on Saturday. Now, yes, it is a start that has kind of been necessitated because of a bit of a lock crisis. Peter Steph this way, obviously shifting into that second row, but the players who have stood up have been rewarded. You know, I mean, Jan-Hendrik Wessels, to give him his due, had never actually played in the URC or Champions Cup at Lucet for the Bulls. Gets an opportunity against Portugal, scores a try, has a half-decent game, gets an opportunity against Australia, has another pretty decent game, and he, you know, he hasn't even been released by Currie Cup this weekend. Stephen Kitsoff has. They've said to Kitsoff, you go get some game time, but, you know, if somebody goes down on Saturday, we can actually back Jan Hendrik, basically. So it's a big backing to give to some of these players. Sasha, for example, as well. They're giving him the keys. It's one thing giving him 2 starts against Australia. It's a whole other thing to then say, right, well, you coped, therefore, you know, start against the second best team in the world. We always just talk about Sasha. You know, it's difficult to get too far ahead of ourselves, isn't it? You know, you're talking about a player who's been a bit of a prodigy throughout the years, and now the more we see of him, the more, you know, there's old footage of him coming up saying speeches when he was, you know, 12 years old and stuff like that. And and I mean, if you've ever met him in person, and Dan interviewed him and I've interviewed him, and he's just the most down to earth, proper professional guy. It's ridiculous to think how young he is. So, you know, it's hard not to get too excited about him. But I mean, what's the threshold? Are we talking about potentially in 4 or 5 years' time us having potentially one of the best players in the world?
Yeah, definitely. So he's been earmarked and been taken note of a long time ago. He's come through the systems. The interesting part is he's been part of the Springbok setup. I know when the A team were playing, he was training against the Boks. Rassie has high regard for him, and I think earlier in the week, one of the reporters at the media conference was asking, is it not perhaps an opportunity for more experience to be on the field? And Rassie blatantly came out and said it'd be stupid not to put Sasha in this position because he backs him 100%. And that's the thing with Rassie too. I think if he backs you 100%. And he's got all the skill sets in the world. He's got the size. He's a very good defender. I don't think too many people take note of that. But he's just got everything at his feet. It's up to him now to grab it. And I think for the most part, he's just shown that he is cool, calm, and collective under the pressure. But then again, the All Blacks test at Ellis Park is going to be a big test for him. But taking over from Andre Pollard, I think he's definitely the guy moving forward. He's got all the skill sets needed to become a superstar. I just also don't want us to get carried away too soon. I think we're gonna blend him in terms of putting him in the tier one against the tier one teams and give him that good couple of minutes and back him. And we probably will see the likes of Andre Pollard come on in the last 10, 15 minutes.
He's going to have that performance where he needs the first half replacement like Money did. Like that's going to happen. And we need to everyone just needs to not panic when it happens. It will happen.
For sure. I think, and then that just begs the question, I guess, for somebody like Monty Lebok, where is he going to be second in line to Sasha now? So he's jumped the queue and he's got many more years being such a young fly-half. But it's very exciting to see Rassie back a young fly-half and not stick to the same old. We're into a new era. We're evolving, like I said, under Tony Brown. Super excited for Saturday. I think Sasha is going to do some magic, brother.
Yeah, no, I agree. I like the fact, especially the backing that we need to give him when he does have that game, because he has made mistakes so far already. It's not been all smooth sailing. I mean, he's looked incredible at times, but he's also made some mistakes, which is always going to come at a 22-year-old. Dan, I mean, Rouge talks about the Rassie backing. I mean, every single time he nails a kick, there seems to be the camera panning to Rassie Erasmus, who's sitting next to Tony Brown, and there's just laughs and smiles. I mean, it's literally it's like two parents watching on. It's like they're looking at this player, and I think they're just looking at like the project Sasha it seems to be such a big part in this coaching staff. How important do you think he is as a player in terms of our transition into a more attacking team, in terms of being that player who's not maybe necessarily the all-out attack player that Monty Lebok is, not the necessarily just yet the general that Andre Pollard necessarily is, but a bit of a blend of the two in terms of having both sets of skill sets.
Yeah, I think we shouldn't get in a way too ahead of ourselves, because this is a little bit reminiscent of the Springboks or a new type of Springboks that we saw because Monty Lebok was given the keys, right? And he was the one tasked with, being the creative fly-half, and it was allowed to do that the first time we've really seen someone as creative as Monty Lebok, given the 10 jersey and the Springbok shirt. All of a sudden, we start coming up in very tight games in knockout rugby, and we went straight back to the safety of what we wanted, and that was kick for poles, put Andre on, and win our scrums. So when the going got tough, we still actually did resort back to that. So it'll be interesting to see in these big important games, let's say it is a game that defines the Rugby Championship. Are we going to then stick to our guts? And is Sasha the person that's going to be trusted in going and doing that? Or if he's injured, does Money come back into the fold? It'll be interesting to see how that creativity is found, not just through who the fly-half is. But for now, obviously, it's incredibly exciting. He's the new golden child who is, the face of the Tony Brown era. And I mean, I'd love to see us, at least give it a crack. If it doesn't work after a year, you can relook at it. Even 2 years, you can relook at it and then prepare for a World Cup cycle. But they're clearly going, listen, we need to continually evolve. This is the key to doing that.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think, as I mentioned, it'll be really interesting to try and see how long you sort of continue with this. But I think the main thing is obviously not to move away from your core strengths, like the scrum and having a very good pack. And we're seeing a lot of innovation in like the lines and stuff. I mean, Carl, you speak about this being, your favorite Springbok side. I think the hallmark of the Springbok side has been the versatility, not just of the game plan, but the players, of everything. I mean, you look at this backline, for example, and every single player in the starting 15 basically, even in the pack, there's very few players that only play one position. You look at the backline and you've got a Sasha who covers 10, 12, 15. Jesse Creel, who can cover 13, 14. You've got a Upland Fast 15, 14. Damon Delaney can cover 12, 13. Kirkley Orense can cover 11, 14, 15. Cheslin basically covers everything from prop to full back apparently at the moment. How much do you think that adds to the excitement? The fact that there is this versatility and these players can move around, and so you can almost sort of afford the different type of bench plays and stuff, but not just, for example, the different type of bench splits, but even, for example, having a Andre Paul who's traditionally just a fly half, where traditionally, you kind of always had to have a Damien Williams for the likes on the bench. Now, because Sasha starts, he is that kind of utility player. But how much does this give the Boks the kind of the license it needs to be able to change things whenever needed, because you've got players who can just slot in anywhere? I mean, Peter Toy started this year at 4, 5, and 7, for example.
The nice thing about your backline is you don't have to change a thing and everything can change. It's the fact that you can set up a line, attacking line, and then literally in the next move, all your players are out of position, but in a familiar position. Not many teams have that, where they're just like, okay, well, I'm here now, so play this. And knowing that and having a lot of experience in all of those positions is something really nice to have. And, so obviously some of these players haven't played that much together, but in that kind of camp where you're training all the time together, you're constantly interacting with each other, it becomes less of an issue because it's more trust than anything. Like if you go into a rugby camp or training, you may practice 8, 9 moves. How many do you use on the pitch? Probably 2. It never happens. It's far more about play off what's going on.
Yeah, that's an interesting. It's an interesting point, especially that adaptability and people understanding. I also think is in terms of rugby IQ. I think they must be building so much rugby IQ in a Sasha understanding how to play 12. So what is in the Boks system? What is his role when he plays 12? What's his role when he plays 15? And how much understanding that must give everybody else to understand this is my role. This is what they're doing, and so I reckon the rugby IQ must be being built into these players with the versatility. I mean, Jasper Wiese, for example, has been packing out lock and training this week. Something he played years back at Cheetah a couple of times, but it must be such an interesting thing for them to understand so holistically this game plan, so they can sort of slot in sort of everywhere. Now we're just going to go to some of the comments, and if you haven't commented and you are watching, first of all, please do smash a like on the video and drop your comments in over there. And earlier, we had a couple of comments, and Paul was saying the best team in the world, Springbok, go Bokke. Cameron was saying everyone is saying SA is evolving for the next World Cup. Newsflash, so is every other country. Grant saying if the All Blacks win, then we need to start a campaign to bring back Leon McDonald. Cameron saying Leon McDonald, ego got the better of him. That's why he left. He couldn't take orders. If he wants to be head coach, he shouldn't have taken the job and wasted Razor's time. Imposter says the only issue is lock. No Kane, Snyman, Mostert, Lewis, Nokia wouldn't be touching a Springbok jersey if these guys were there, which I think is a nice sort of position to be in to a certain degree, in that you've got a player like Nokia who's had such a good season, and he probably wouldn't have been playing much if everybody was fit. Eric's saying a lot could depend on how they counter your umbrella defense and how you adapt to it. And then Dylan saying, I think we're going to see the best running rugby from both sides this weekend. I predict a high score. Well, that's a nice way to sort of bring in the team that the Boks have selected, because I think it is a very attacking side. If you have a look at this team, I mean, a pretty tried and tested front row, a bit of an experimental second row, which is injury enforced. You then got Sia Khaleesi, Jasper Wiese, Ben Jason Dixon. That's a back row that really excites me. Very, very physical back row. Kubus Ranak partnering fine with Sasha Van Zulu, David Delinda, Jesse Creel. Those two have been a credible centre pairing. But I think probably the most exciting part is probably this back three of Kurt Lawrence, Ches, and Colby. We know what we bring, but then up here Fassi, who's a proper attacking threat. Does this team scream to you attack?
So the interesting part for me is obviously the experimental way they've gone in terms of the second row. For me, I was kind of wondering if Eben Etzebeth, and this is in my own small mind, if he's fit to play and be ready, why did they have him start off the bench. But I think then again, that leads me to believe that Rassie is probably instructed one of the players, definitely in that first half, to empty out their tank, be it Ben Jason Dixon or Ron Nakia, because we're going to see the introduction of Eben Etzebeth. And I think the most interesting part of this clash is obviously two differing styles, but then again, South Africa are definitely going to do the grunt work in that first half, and that's where I allude to emptying the tank. And then we have obviously the bench with the 6-2 split coming on. And I think from the 60th minute onwards, in my prediction, we're just going to pull away from the All Blacks. I don't necessarily say it's going to be a massive deficit, but I just think that grunt work and someone emptying out the tank in that first half, be it, like I said, Ben Jason Dixon or the likes of Jasper Wiese, going hard, going thick on the paint. And then obviously that back three can do the business in the second half when the All Blacks are actually out on their feet.
Yeah, look, I mean, in terms of a bomb squad, adding Etzebeth to it is a pretty big move, pretty bold move as well. I mean, you look at the players there, and I mean, it's impact on impact on impact, really. Dan, we spoke a little bit about on our podcast, and if you haven't, go and check out Between Two Fans. But I mean, you look at this bench, for example, Grant Williams, Kwagga Smith, Malcolm Marx. These are players who bring on so much when they do come on. I mean, just is this one of those points of difference that make this Boks team so special that you can bring on players like those guys, that kind of caliber? I don't think there's any other team in the world that can kind of bring on your Malcolm Marx type of Kwagga Smith that can bring the kind of impact that they do.
Yeah, I think that's become synonymous with the Boks success is, the coining of the term, the bomb squad, and how you can redefine your bench. For example, many would regard Malcolm Marx as South Africa's best hooker, but he's almost exclusively wearing the number 16 jersey. And, the Bok camp would never, say that, anyone is better than the other, because I think they've built an environment where it matters much less that you are on the bench than starting because of the importance that you can bring. I mean, the likes of Kwagga Smith will go down in rugby history as the best substitute player to probably ever don, a international shirt, because of the way that we're able to bring them into the game. And it's got to a point where for smaller countries, it's tougher because of the impact that is now brought in. It's not the lesser players that are held back for a time, and just to go do the exact same job that the others were doing. It's very well thought through. And that goes into also what type of bench we're picking. Is a one scrum off and who can cover a lot of backline positions, is that okay? Can we just dominate the forwards and that's enough? It's not just filling in one per position, which I guess was a very, if we're thinking back on it, quite a rudimentary way of considering how to use a bench.
Yeah, I think it's a very good point, actually. And I think especially with the smaller nations, and this is where it's kind of been the hallmark. We talked about the sort of South African depth, and I think this has been the first coaching staff to really tap into that in terms of saying, well, let's not make this a 15-man game. Let's make it a 23-man game. We're going to use our bench in such a way that's a whole separate weapon, and not about, well, can our bench just continue to pick up where they left off? No, they actually bring a whole new dimension to the game. Let's have a look at New Zealand. They've named their side. And it's a pretty straightforward side. No, Ethan de Groot's a big loss for them. Picked up that late injury and so hasn't traveled as a result. Tamati Williams gets an opportunity. Very big lad. And will add a lot of bulk to that All Blacks pack. Now, no Dalton Papali'i. He's out with an injury and is not in the 23. Ethan Blackhead has been very impressive. Sam Kane gets his first start since the World Cup final. They continue with the Perinoa-McKenzie combination, which got a bit of criticism in that first game against Argentina and then bounced back pretty well a week later. And then a very big call as well, Mark Telea, and in fact dropped down to the bench with Caleb Clark starting. So Carl, I mean, you look at that All Black side. I mean, as I said, it's an expected side. Plenty of quality here. But it's difficult to really know what to expect, isn't it, from them in terms of two maybe sort of rusty performances almost looked like it, or disjointed against England. Then a poor performance against Argentina. I mean, a pretty decent performance against Fiji. But then I think that last performance against Argentina was probably the first time we've sat up and said, oh, have they actually arrived?
Yeah, that's the problem with New Zealand. Like they're like on their bench, they've got Sam Derry, who's had a pretty good entrance into international rugby. And their bench is good. And actually talking about Dan's point of marks and having that kind of benefit off the bench. And I was just thinking that there are very few teams in the world that have two of the best in the same position to have that luxury. Yeah. I mean, even New Zealand don't do it. And I think Almua is a class player, but he does not have the same kind of, I'm just going to be a limpet on your ruck ball whenever you're in a dangerous position. And I think that's also coupled with South Africa is very good at having one of their best player in that position as captain as well. A lot of teams will choose an experienced guy to be their captain who's not necessarily the best player. And that actually causes them a lot of problems because yes, your experience, your leadership is great, but you lose the effectiveness of that player.
It was an interesting point because that was the criticism towards Sam Kane a year ago. People talking about the fact, should he be starting? Is he the best player in his position? Which he took very personally and decided to rock up during the playoffs and put in some proper Sam Kane performances. But it's an interesting point in terms of making sure that player is the captain, which is why I think a lot of people assumed that Ardie Savea was going to be wearing the armband.
Yeah, I think, and I would say he would be a better choice than Scott Barrett. Scott Barrett is, as we know, is a habit of getting himself cards, although he's been all right so far. But it's a good
Maybe
team.
Patrick, the only way to stop him getting cards, make him captain.
Tell him he's fired if he gets one. But there are, I mean, their backline doesn't have the same versatility yours does. It does in a way, but their wingers aren't so much. Like, okay, yes, Will Jordan can play in fullback quite easily, but Caleb Clark not so much. And I wouldn't put Caleb Clark anywhere else. I don't know. Like the fact that Talia's there is an interesting one for me. I probably would have said Talia over Clark, but Clark has been playing well.
Agreed.
And I thought, even though I think he scored a try or two against Argentina, I thought Talia did have a dip against them. I thought he wasn't on his best form. It's interesting. Like I do like their forwards. Although I'd probably start. I probably wouldn't have gone Sam Kane. I
think Sam Kane's there for the emotional driver. I think he's there. Seriously though, like he played his last game. Like pretty much, he played his last game at Eden Park. Probably going to be, I mean, he says this last time he's ever going to play at Ellis Park. He speaks about how he wasn't sure if he was going to ever don the All Black jersey again after what happened at the World Cup. And as far as like blunders go, it's about as big as it gets, right? You're the captain of a team and you get sent off in the first half due to a red card after a high tackle. Now you're playing that country again after you thought maybe your career was done. This is complete redemption for him, as much as he might say it's not. Like, I think the emotional place he's going to go to. And we saw what happened when he turned things around after everyone was starting in the group stages of the Rugby World Cup and what he did against Ireland. I think we're going to see the exact same performance of him.
What do we think of Rico coming back into the team?
So my wild opinion is I still think that Antonina Brown should be at 13. I mean, Rico Ioane, I know, has had a couple of great seasons at 13, and it took him a while to adapt there. I think Antonina Brown starts at 13. I get more nervous looking at the backline than I do at Rico Ioane. I think there's far more to Antonina Brown's game than there is to Rico Ioane's.
I think, yes, Rico had some great seasons, but I think New Zealand shot themselves in the foot when they took him away from wing. He was so good at wing, like nuts. I would pick him at wing over Talia. He was that good.
I think he would have broken the New Zealand try scoring record quite easily.
Yeah, and I know look, a lot of people think he's world class, and he arguably is. I don't find Geordie Barrett that impressive. Not anymore. He certainly had some very good seasons, but
What's interesting about the backline, like with Barrett and even Ioane, and their modern backline is almost to an extent they were kind of fitting people. It was like, we just need to get the best players on the field, and we need to make sure.
I mean, because I think the biggest problem as well is they didn't have an inside centre for a long time. You know, they had a couple of other options. You know, and so then they moved Jory, who's playing a lot of fullback, into inside centre, which I do think if he had actually moved there a bit earlier in his career, I think inside centre makes so much sense for him. But I must admit, I don't look at the centre pairing necessarily, and it strikes fear into my. I look at his backline and I worry about Damian McKenzie and the type of game that he decides to have, because on his day he can do so much. Will Jordan, don't give him an inch, because we all know how devastating he is. And I think Beauden Barrett brings so much calmness and to the side.
Yeah.
My biggest thing, and Ruz, with those to you, I look at this bench as a Bok fan, and there's no one on this bench which makes me nervous. Maybe Martelea at a push, but you don't really get that nervous from a wing coming off a bench.
You just said Alan Brown should be starting, Stevie.
Yeah, no, I think he makes him a better side, but I don't think he when he comes on, I don't think he brings in the same impact that a Quacker Smith's going to bring on, a Malcolm Marks and Grant Williams, for example.
He's a starter, not a finisher.
Yeah, I think he. I don't think Jesse Creel will be a fantastic impact player, for example.
Yeah.
That being said, Jesse Creel is probably the Bok player I'm most impressed with over the last year and a half.
Jesse Creel, the great. But Ruz, talk us through this New Zealand backline. I mean, the bench.
So just touching on the New Zealand side and the bench, you've got the likes of Sam Derry, who seems to have had a good start to his Test career. Mm-hmm. But then you just look at the flip side for South Africa now, having the luxury of Eben Etzebeth, and if you had to put them two in a UFC or a boxing ring, a UFC octagon or boxing ring, it's clear cut who'll go out and win that one. I think for the All Blacks, and I know there's a lot of subtle nuances to a rugby game, especially a big Test match like this. The All Blacks want to dictate the game on their own terms, and just judging by the split that they've gone with, they want to run us off our feet, as they would say, and really play the game at pace. I think the crucial part for us is to obviously slow the game down, rush hard on defense, and then just get those big, doughy-eyed All Blacks shell-shocked. Because once the All Blacks are rocked, I think history has proven that they find it hard to really gain any traction. So for the bench, they've got Finau that can come on and is a big unit. But I think the likes of Quagga Smith, albeit he's not the biggest in terms of stature, we've got players that can really come off the bench, and just if we can just maintain the intensity, obviously start with the intensity and maintain it off the bench, I don't think the All Blacks can match us. But then it goes with that simplicity of making sure we can dictate the game on our own terms. I know the All Blacks could potentially match us in terms of the scrum set piece, and at line out it's going to be interesting with Nokia starting, but I don't think the All Blacks will dominate us at scrum time. So for us, just being able to do what we do best, and then the intensity on defense must be there. But obviously the All Blacks are very tactical in putting the ball in behind, for example. So just awareness from that back three, to absorb that and really just keep the pressure on, because if we have to do a like-for-like bench comparison, I think South Africa, if we can maintain that intensity in the first half, bring on that bench and just keep that work ethic, I think the All Blacks will be swallowed up.
Yeah, I tend to agree. Right, so this is not the only Rugby Championship game happening this weekend. So we can have a look at what's happening with the Argentina versus Australia. Now, Argentina have named their side pretty standard, not too many changes there from them. But it's been an interesting tour of that, because you've got a Australian side which is coming from a very low base, and probably kind of Australian rugby itself, and it's arguably the worst state it's ever been in. I think they've got the right person in charge in Joe Schmidt, but I mean, every single time they're naming a side, there's debuts, there's new players, there's players who haven't played at this level, then they're losing players to, NRL and stuff like that. So it's a bit of a shit show. Dan, as Argentina, who also got a new coach, to be fair, but having beaten the All Blacks and had, a bit of a shaky start against France, surely they're looking at 2 home games against Australia going, these are these have to be 2 wins.
Sorry, Steve, just to jump in there. This is a Tier 2 Rugby Championship game you're talking about, eh?
You're right, yeah, too. A semi-finalist there, bro. I was going to say, I think Argentina coming back off the World Cup, they're supposedly, based off of that, the 4th best team in the world. Then you did go and see them lose to a 2nd/3rd string France team at home.
Yeah, so, a France barbarian side with players getting sent home every second day.
Yeah, no, let's not get into the legalities of that French team and the charges they have against them. But yeah, I think for them, they have to go in with the mindset of winning both, and Australia need to make sure that they aren't able to. It's kind of that's going to be the tussle, because I think for Argentina, it's like they've always had the performance in them. They've probably upset. I think they've probably won against every single nation right now at this point, right? So they know that they have it over the years, and we see them do well at so many World Cups. They've made so many semi-finals, but it's literally just for them about stringing those together now. Can you get there week in, week out? And if you can, first game win versus Australia will be big, but then they'll want to, prove that them letting it slide against the All Blacks in that second game wasn't just a pattern now that's forming of them, winning the first, losing the second. I think they'll desperately want to go back to back. And to be honest, I think they should. I genuinely think they should, because I don't think this Australia team is particularly good.
Yeah, no, I tend to agree. I think if things get right, I think it could get messy. I think the biggest thing about Argentina is you mentioned, they just lack the consistency. There's on the day they can be a top. I mean, they've beaten the All Blacks away twice now in the last few years. They've beaten South Africa at home. They're a side that on their day could go toe-to-toe with the best team in the world, and yet they're never considered a top 4, top 5 side because of that lack of consistency. Carl, do you think this is going to be hopefully the hallmark of the Contepone era? Turn them into a side which can consistently be top 4, top 5 in the world, and when there is the expectation for them to win, can deliver on that expectation, and not just a side who are incredibly difficult to beat at home and then rock up during World Cups and put in a couple of inspirational performances.
Have you got the team sheet there?
For Argentina, I can show you. Australia have not named it. Theirs, but this is how Argentina line up.
Well, Australia is still trying to get the numbers.
Yeah, they're probably still flying.
Professional rugby players.
Let's have a look. Molina, Rubiolo. It's a good side.
Good live analysis coming to you.
Hey?
I do like
live analysis coming here. Yeah.
Go down to 15.
It's Cruz Malia. Come on, it's there. We all know he's a 50. I don't think they've had a different 15 in the last 3 years.
No, it's a good side. I think where most of their issues actually come from is Carreras at 10. Not because he's a bad player, but because he is erratic. He is either on or off, and when he's on, he is world class. But when he goes, the whole team follows.
Unfortunately, Nicolas Sanchez and that great the great mullet he had at the World Cup has officially hung the boots up. So this is the Carreras era. He's an interesting player because he was kind of just put there basically. He played mostly at fullback before. They decided, listen, I know you're a fullback, but how about you play 10 at the international level and just become a 10 by playing here for the Rugby Championship? So always felt sorry for him in that he had to learn how to become a flyhalf on the international stage, which is quite a wild thing to do.
That's been a frequent problem with Argentina, though. I remember there was one year where they debuted 4 fly-halves in 1 year.
Yeah.
And then they still didn't stick with any of them. Like, they have a distinct problem with fly-half.
Contempone could just put himself on if he's having a couple of issues. I reckon he can still do a job there.
Just start Contempone with Sanchez on the bench for the next 20 years. Just do it. Just roll the years back and do it all again. If Augustin Creevy can still play and he's on the bench, then come on, Felipe's napping out here.
I think if Australia don't get Tupou starting, their scrum's going to get absolutely destroyed. Like, I love the Argentinian scrum. It's so good.
What was good to see was that the Argentina scrum was so good coming off the bench against New Zealand, especially in that first test where Augustin Currie came on, scored try. I mean, was rolling back the years. Argentina, everybody loves watching Argentina. I love the centre pairing. I think Chukabara is a really good player. I think he's going to have a fantastic career. Very, very cool young player. I think it's just the consistency. I think I do agree. When Carreras is on, then he makes things happen. You can understand why they're trying to get him to work because he is a creative mind. He's very attacking natured, and Argentina are always that kind of crazy streets won't forget type of team with the type of tries they score. I mean, some of the tries that Mateo Carreras is scoring against the All Blacks, I mean, they're just wild.
Mateo Carreras is the most dangerous.
The maverick fly half. He's not really a fly half. It's like the most Argentina situation ever. Like, you're not really a fly half, but just go up there and just cook. Just do some cool shit and see if it works. Which is kind of how I feel Argentina basically kind of just play. They're just like, oh well, we'll just bring some South American flair to the table.
Australia also are struggling at 10. They haven't really been able to nail that spot down for a couple of years now.
Well, it doesn't help. They thought that they had the Messiah and Carter Gordon, who then said, "Thanks, I'm off to league."
Yeah, and the sad thing is, Lolosio is amazing at club level, but he's never been that good at international. He's kind of been a stopgap for them for a bit too long.
To be fair, I think Eddie Jones has genuinely put that Australian side back a few years, several years.
He
backed Lolosio all the time, and then went to the World Cup without him basically, and said to Carter Gordon, "Cool, just start." I haven't backed you at all. He was just some of the decisions he made were absolutely. I mean, it was a proper tank job. We don't have the Australian side. Hopefully, it should be announced almost any minute now, actually. But you have a look at the Currie Cup in the last sort of closing stages over here, because it's been such a cool competition. Me and Dan, every week we just rave about how much fun it is. Just silly tries, incredible. Wild moments. We haven't had too many big upsets yet. We've yet to see the Griffins go and beat a top side, but it has been very cool. I'm actually going tomorrow to there's Lions versus Bulls, which is the table. I am going. I have decided I'm going to make the trek in between going to All Blacks training and interviewing Scott Baird and the likes. So that's how the Currie Cup log currently looks like. So the top of the table clash tomorrow with the Bulls taking on the Lions. What's very cool about this is actually happening at a school in Pretoria, because Loftus is being used for a concert, and it's happening at Midstream College, which I think is got a capacity about 2,000 people, maybe 3 if they push. But I think that's something that we need to see a bit more in the Currie Cup is those community stadiums being used. I know Stormers have played a couple in the Donny Craven, for example, which I don't know why. If you've got Stellenbosch University right there, I would just basically base the Currie Cup team at the Donny Craven. You would fill that stadium up every weekend just from the students. Similarly for the Lions, just go and base it at Wits and UJ and just bring the students in. Same as the Bulls. Go play at Tuks. Just go take it to the university stadiums and you'll be sorted. But Rudes, unfortunately, no EP Kings just yet on that table. So no local team for you. But the Currie Cup maybe might not be what it used to be in terms of the prestige, but it's just still such a cool competition, isn't it?
Absolutely. Just touching quickly on the Australia team. They play rugby at the moment like they were breakdancing at the Olympics, to be honest with you.
Ray guns. Ray
guns. Really cruel.
I would start at 10.
I think to be honest with you, the Griffins would give the Wallabies a good go at the moment. And also, I think just to touch lastly on Australia, and there's obviously a lot of debate around it when the Wallabies and the Springboks played the second test. When I saw the Wallabies cop out of that scrum in the second half, you kind of get the feeling that they just don't want to really put any intensity or focus on their set piece, and that's where they really are battling, to be honest with you. But coming back to the Currie Cup, it's exciting to see a lot of youngsters that are coming through. I think with the South African teams moving up north, it's given a lot of opportunity to non-Springboks perhaps to really open up the player pool in terms of showing and showcasing what they can do. I mean, I look at the Lions, that Renzo Duplessis, the number 6 flank. I think in this last month, he's got 3 out of 4 man of the match awards. So it'll be interesting to see a player like that in a couple of years' time push on and go on for Springbok colours. So to see the Bulls, obviously my favourite team at the top of the table, up against the Lions tomorrow is going to be a really exciting one. And then hopefully the EP Kings on my 50th birthday would get back into the Currie Cup.
You know what, Ruse? I'll fly down for that. Hey, EP Kings in the Currie Cup final. Ruse turns 50. Everything down in Kabeja. Dan, we will have a bit of an Eastern we'll have an Eastern Cape reunion.
I'll fly out for that.
There we go. There we go.
Straight in there and straight to the front seat. Yeah. To be fair, it is such a bloody pity that South African rugby hasn't got a Eastern Cape franchise to really get off the ground. And EP Kings was their chance at that. But my word, they're missing out on a talent pool there.
Mm. Yeah, no, I mean, if you've ever gone and watched schoolboy rugby in the Eastern Cape, it is stupidly good. Like, stupidly good. Hey, leave our boys alone. They're down in like third tier varsity rugby at the moment. It's tough. It's tough times. We're not gonna go down that route. But yeah, I mean, Dan, the Currie Cup, you know, your Western Province are making a bit of a mockery of it. You know, they're changing the name to Stormers, which is probably about right because, you know, this isn't the Western Province you can really be proud of. But I thought we'd actually talk about that fact. A bit of a name change. Now, we've seen over here, there are already branding changes. So, for example, back in the day, you used to have the Blue Bulls. Had a different logo, different like kit. It was a whole different, like almost different franchise, basically. It was a union as opposed to the franchise. Similarly, you used to have the Golden Lions. Again, different logo, type of thing. Same thing, you used to Natal Sharks, etc. And now all these sort of these brands are kind of all aligning themselves with the modern era. And there is now talks, and there was at a press conference earlier this week, that the DHL Western Province, well, the West Province, might be no longer. And we're going to see a Stormers in the Currie Cup. Bit of rugby heritage being lost there if we lose the hoops, Dan?
Yeah, no, the hoops absolutely must stay. Like, I understand, it's like, I do find it a little bit silly that the Stormers have like a different Instagram page, for example,
and website, and the whole works. Yeah,
because it's fundamentally the exact same franchise. Like, centralize that, you know, like that is just a complete branding like issue. But keep the nostalgia. People love the nostalgia. Keep the hoops. Keep the badge. Like, even now, I'm shocked now that the Bulls don't have their typical Currie Cup badge. It's like, what? Like, that's the blue.
Yeah, it used to be a flower, didn't it?
Yeah, they have the red flower, and I mean, it's just, I think you can nostalgia or you know, the old version, let's say, doesn't need to be something that's outdated. You can tap into that nostalgia factor, and we've seen, like, you know, even in certain like South African derbies, they're tapping into, you know, the schools they played for, wearing their socks and stuff like that. You can do the exact same thing with this and get people proud of that, you know, background. Like, you know, we've seen now, you know, sponsors are involved in names like DHL Stormers. That's kind of whatever at this point, and it's necessary for investment, but you can still hold on to it and not just get rid of, you know, something like the Stormers playing in hoops, because that is actually what every single Western Province fan or Stormers fan will associate to their kit.
Yeah, I think it should be compulsory that the Currie Cup is heritage, and you got to go back to that. So I think we need long sleeve cotton jerseys, those like tiny shorts, and we need to go back to.
What? So when it rains, they weigh 100 kgs more.
Correct. And that's also a rule. We cannot play on green grass that's not wet. It needs to be muddy. Leather ball. We take the Currie Cup back to the roots, and we appreciate what rugby is. That's what it should be. A celebration of what rugby was.
One thing I do love, or I mean, it hasn't been done for quite a while now, and don't get me wrong about the whole Twickenham thing, but one thing I used to love England doing was when they would have random games, they'd choose to like go back to a kit they wore 70 years ago. I'm like, I want that. That's awesome. And like losing that is like, the province kit is one of my favorite kits in the Currie Cup. The Sharks is boring. I used to like it when the Sharks played in black and white, not just black. Like the province kit's one of the nicest ones. It'd be sad if they lose that.
Yeah, I mean, it used to always. I mean, as a youngster, I never really liked the Lions white with the red stripe. The older I got, the more like you kind of appreciate the retro vibe. But it is quite sad, those sort of those old school jerseys and the old school sort of aspect of that. But I think the main thing is the fact that we still have the Currie Cup, as we said. This is the pathway for so many players. And it's given us so many players over the years. And it's good to see it still going. But sad that the Greeks have kind of and have fallen off a little bit this season. They've been such a cool team in the last couple of years. But I think it is good to see that we are seeing stronger sides being fielded by the Bulls, Lions, Sharks, Cheetahs, the Western Province. I mean, they're fielding decent side. They're just not getting the results. But it's nice because I feel like the Currie Cup now, compared to what it was a year or two ago, is definitely stronger. We're definitely seeing a better product. I mean, for example, and it's interesting how it's becoming part of the preseason. I mean, tomorrow, to the extent, Lions are not only named basically at URC side, but the actual URC management are even taking over tomorrow just for a select game. And they're basically treating it as a preseason game. And then they'll hand it back to sort of the Currie Cup management. So it's a very interesting sort of vibe that this competition has kind of become. But we're going to go into some predictions now, people, because we've got some very, very big calls to make, because we've got to try and call the big one, and we've got to try and call Argentina versus Australia. And before we do that, just going to get your final sort of thoughts on the Rugby Championship itself. One thing I want to speak about was the idea of moving it to earlier in the year. It has once again raised its head this week. I thought before we make the predictions, it'd be a nice idea to sort of chat a little about that. Roots, would you be a fan of the moving kind of to more sort of the Six Nation windows, or do you think it needs to stay where it is?
I think the current model is working for the players. Obviously, in terms of a global calendar, I think at some stage or another, we perhaps will see the stars align and us move towards that time of the year. But I think for the moment, the way things are, it's working for South Africa, especially with our move up north. We don't want to also, I'm not sure how it would work then in terms of our local competitions. Would it benefit the young and upcoming players to have more Springboks available? But for the most part, I do think let's not try and fix too much. It's working at the moment, yeah.
Yeah, and Dan, what do you reckon about the global calendar and the change?
I feel like the scheduling is always like just difficult and conflicting. Like we like it at this stage; it feels right, but it kind of used to fit more with when we were associated to the Southern Hemisphere club wise. So, I mean, I wouldn't mind it seeing it early on. It's like, the counter argument is that it's in summer and that's not rugby season, but we always play Super Rugby at any point, in that kind of the Jan-February window. So,
yeah,
it
would be so weird seeing a Springbok game in February, though. It'd be wild.
Would be like, because you also know, I don't know, it's like that grass is going to be dry. You're not seeing kind of the sludge. Maybe that helps us. I'm not sure. It'll be interesting to see how it plays out. But it kind of just, in a way, it just conflicts with South African sporting fixture, where typically cricket in the summer, rugby in the winter, but I mean, condensing that all could be make for a pretty crazy Jan-Feb March.
Yeah, I think. Sorry, just touching on there. How would it then perhaps impact the end of year tours if we were to have a Rugby Championship in Feb?
Well, I think it'll be interesting because it almost becomes like, it would almost be like the box season would start in the end of year tours. Like kind of that's because I mean, with the Northern Hemisphere sides, they kind of have. I mean, from a year point of view, they go Six Nations outgoing tour. That kind of becomes the end of the season, and things start again. So I think that would also be very interesting because I mean, we always kind of looked at the end of year tour as the end of the season. End of the thing. So it'd be quite like a whole different sort of shift, a bit like the URC, I suppose, which kind of continues over Christmas, whereas traditionally we used to go around January to December. It was such an interesting dynamic, actually, when you think about now how the incoming series, like the start of our season, we always have that kind of that one match against Tier 2 nation where we sort of rotate. It would be a very interesting concept if we suddenly now had an end of year tour which is actually the beginning of the season, where that's all of a sudden where experimentation happens. Then you've got the Rugby Championship, what happens, and then you kind of finish off your international season with an outgoing tour, or an incoming tour rather for us. I think it's gonna be a while before we even see anything like that. But it is interesting as they talk about a global calendar, how this might all start to align.
It would certainly. I think it might help South Africa. Well, it might help the Southern Hemisphere teams in World Cup years, because that shortened Rugby Championship's a piss take. It's a bit
that three game.
It would sort that out.
Yeah.
Even if you only do it in that year, fine.
What will be interesting, obviously, is also those All Black tours that have been spoken about. Those sort of old school type of tours that's going to happen between the Boks and the All Blacks, where we go over and you play 3 tests, play against cheap rugby sides in between there and stuff like that.
Just like the Lions will,
yeah. I can't wait. I'm definitely. Okay, we're going over, guys. We'll see. I'll see you guys in Auckland in like 4 years' time. We're going over for the All Black tour. I'm not waiting another 8 years for British and Irish Lions tour. No. That's
we have to go to Australia for the World Cup. So
yeah, okay. Let's start counting. Start counting the pennies, people. Well, maybe we can all bet the money on the score predictions we're about to make, and we can all get there. Right. I'm going to do 2 predictions. We're going to do Boks first. In fact, I'm going to ask everybody for their predictions. I want a Boks versus All Blacks prediction and Australia versus Argentina prediction from everybody. Simple. Boks by however many, Oz or Argentina by however many. You can go New Zealand by however many as well. I'm not sure you've been invited back to the show, but if you're willing to cut to burn bridges, then go for it. And we're going to throw it over to Carl first. Hit us up.
Right, I'll burn my bridge first. I think All Blacks by 2.
Yeah. This is why the Sharks.
Then again, I am always helping you out at this point.
Salty about that 2019 World Cup. These bloody England fans, they're the worst.
And then Argentina.
Are you still bitter about that last scrum in the semi-final, Cal?
No, actually, I'm not fucking surprised in the slightest. I was actually remarkably proud of that campaign, surprisingly. But I reckon Argentina by... I think it'll be closer than people think. I think Argentina by 3.
Yo, that's a bit cool. Right, Dan?
Well, I went Boka by 2 in our predictions on the Between Two Fans podcast. And for Australia versus Argentina, where is the game, by the way? Not that makes a difference.
It's in Argentina. Exactly where I can find out.
I'm going to go Argentina by 8. I think
Argentina by 8.
Not a blowout, but enough that they don't have to stress too much.
Okay, Argentina by 8. Right, Rudes, what do you got for us?
South Africa by 6 for sure. And then it's expected that Argentina must beat Australia in both test matches. So Argentina by 11. I think if Argentina don't win, they'll really feel aggrieved in terms of Australia coming to play there. Australia might be in a position where they could end up out of the top 10 in terms of the world rankings for the first time ever. I just don't know what it means for Argentina. Other than 2 victories against Australia, I think really they are expected to win. Australia in a very dire place.
Argentina could look at getting second in the Rugby Championship.
If Argentina go back-to-back, they could be in a running for first, actually.
True. Then it all comes down to us in Argentina.
And they've got a home game as well against us. So they dark horses out there.
I think Australia are going to win one of those 2 games.
So, South Africa by 6 and Argentina by 11.
Right, I like that. I think I said Boks by 7, if I'm not mistaken, Dan, in the podcast yesterday. So something along those lines. And I think Argentina I want to go by 13. I think this will be the big win. If they get a big win against Australia, I think they could get this weekend. I think Australia, a couple of injuries. I'm not sure who they're going to be able to get back. And I think it's Argentina's side first game at home in the Rugby Championship after a reasonable New Zealand tour. They'll want to respond, so I'm backing them to respond in a big way. Gentlemen, thank you very much. We are less than 48 hours. In fact, 48 hours time, we will know what the result is between the Boks and All Blacks. And hopefully it's an absolute all-timer. People, if you are watching, please do smash like the video. Please do subscribe to the channel. content tomorrow will include captain's runs from both teams, the Springbok photo, as well as captain's press conferences. It is the Zondilistic and Sia Khaleesi show tomorrow afternoon. Always a fun press conference to watch. And then we'll be live on Saturday. In fact, we'll be live tomorrow. I believe Ruse has the pleasure of taking you through Bulls versus Lions. I'll be with you live for Springboks versus All Blacks. And then Kyle will be on the late night train with that Australia versus Argentina game. Dan, I think he's just watching football this weekend. I don't know what his chat is. Yeah.
I'm watching the Paralympics.
There we go. He's watching the Paralympics. Love the work. Love the work. Gentlemen, thank you very much. Enjoy the evening. And to everybody else, we'll see you guys all very soon.
Maybe just let's start with Evan, the injury there. How bad is it? And all the other injuries, maybe just give us an update there.
Yeah, I think let's start with positive news to have Jasper back is fantastic after how many weeks. He's been really a supreme trainer. The last 8 weeks, elite trainer. So hopefully he can become a lead rugby player this weekend. Very glad to have him back. Pity Andre is not ready yet. He's now out for a few, 8 weeks, 6 weeks under Estreisen. He's not ready, and then that's why I've just got that list here. Not to make it doom and gloom, because I really think we do have a great team that we're putting on the park with a few guys missing out. Still on selection who could easily have slotted in. So Salman is out, John Klein we know, RG is out now for 6 weeks, Lodewijk is out, Franco's out, added another 2-3 weeks to, because they did late surgery on him, the bone didn't fix itself. I'll get to Evan now. Evan Roos is out, Herschel is out, Faf is out, Andre Estreisen, Henku, Edwell, Damian Willemsen. I'm not going to name names here of guys who hasn't really been in the mix with us. So those are the guys that we really considered and hoped to play some test match rugby here. So as we announced the team last night with Eben out, and of course if you don't train on a Monday, on Monday morning, Sunday we pick the team, and Monday morning we announce the team internally with Eben out, and because our policy, if you can't train on a Monday, you can't play on Sunday. And there everyone goes and need a whole training session on Monday. So obviously I have to look at how this afternoon goes, and then tonight have a chat with all the players. And if we are going to make a change, because he might have miraculously recovered, and Doc said there is some science behind that. It is not just the will to play and the big occasion and the All Blacks. It's actually, there's some science behind it. So if that's the case, we'll be too happy. It will be very unlucky who of Elrich, Marco, Kwacha will be left out. I think that will be a call between the three of them. But we'll think clearly and we'll see how Peter Steff moves, and tonight we'll make that call.
Russell, what is exactly
It's a meniscus. It's a meniscus, but not a meniscus with a trauma meniscus. So, it's a meniscus in a scrum. So, you know, from him changing feet from one foot to another foot in a scrum on his own. So it's not where somebody ran onto him and got a whole tear on the thing and everything is to pieces. He just Don loves scrums. So on this side there was a hell of a lot of scrum, kilogram, and this guy's side was a hell of a lot of kilogram. And Eben had to move his feet, and that kilogram was coming onto that side. And he twisted his knee a little bit. So,
all right, guys, enough.
Mechanics is also not, shows also not big trauma, and hopefully that. Q20, yeah, he's 15. Who's that? Sorry again? Andre, I think it's 12 weeks, 3 months. I think it's a shoulder. Sorry, I've got such a long list here now, and it was always when they get surgery, they somebody do 3 things. They fix 2-3 things that's been bothering them. But I think the longest one is going to be a shoulder for 3 months. Who asked you? Sorry.
Yeah. In terms of Peter Steff at 4, are you quite confident with him there? And who on the bench sort of might come on there if needed? And did you ever think of maybe calling up old Marvin Ori with a bit
Yeah, a lot of guys has gone through our list, the list. It's like A to I spreadsheet, but it goes to M. With players on the other side, on the under 20s, under 15s. So the list goes like that on each position. And then you go over guys like Charles de Pre, Dan de Pre, you got, what's his name? Marco Janssen van Rensburg is in the mix. Because we're tracking all of those guys and we see how they're doing and we're keeping track of their stats and the injuries and those kind of things. There's a few locks who play for Harlequins, Herbs. Is a very good four locks daar. Hierna Herbs wat vir hulle speel. So yes, there's been a lot of names on the table, but also having, for example, with all the injuries we have today, having Pieter Steff and Rowan starting with Ben Jason covering middle lock, Jasper covering front lock, and and then still you have 3 loose forwards on the bench, Marco, Elrich, and Kwaga. With Elrich that can play 7 as well. And then on the other hand, you've got Salman who's ready next week, and Eben is maybe ready tonight. So we look at everybody, but we try and make a calculated call.
Power dynamic in World Rugby has obviously changed over the last 4 or 5. How do you as a team strike a balance between respecting the All Blacks, which they deserve, obviously, and not being overconfident after all the success you've had over the last few years?
No, we'll be stupid. if we don't respect them, we'll be bad coaches, we'll be stupid players, we'll be arrogant nation, we'll be quickly put back in our place at number 6 or 7 where we started. It's a team that beat England at home. It's a team that lost to Argentina. We've lost to Argentina. It's a team that has lost to Argentina before. It's a team that we beat them only by 1 point in the World Cup. And so I just think people must understand, although Razor is a fantastic coach, and you may be the best coach in the world, and New Zealand is a rugby mad country. If you lose Richie Mo'unga all of a sudden and the core of your Crusaders players isn't there and you've got a few injuries and you're trying this guy at 10 and you've got a captain out for the first 2 test matches and you strike Argentina on the wrong day, it's going to be the wrong day. And that doesn't make Razor a bad coach. You saw what happened the next week, and now this week in the year, and me and him, I think, is exactly the same. Well, not size, I'm much bigger than him, fatter than him, but age. We played all our test matches against each other, all our Crusader matches, Cats matches, and Free State matches, Lions matches against each other. And yeah, I've had a few beers with him many a time in my life. He would know this stadium really well. I think if you know Sir's Razor Dance, it will be the what trophy that they won? Super Rugby trophy, yeah, where he won it here on Alice Park the other day. So, no, they've got too much class all around, too good a coaching system, and too good a structures in New Zealand not to get it right somewhere.
Just on that, coach, just on that, coach, what do you mean? What's different about the All Blacks this year, other than coaching?
Yeah, I think it's not the settled thing. By that, I'm not saying Jody Barrett is not settled and Logan Barrett is not settled, and Perenara hasn't played many test caps, and but it's not like I will go out there and I put my All Black team out. We could do that before we played England in the World Cup. Yassi can go and he can put his All Black team there. Maybe partly because we're not so much involved in Super Rugby anymore and we don't know these players and see these players day in, day out, and we're just tracking them. We just, as we analyze them, see, oh, this guy's profile shows a lot of this, or this guy's profile showed a lot of this, and oh, this guy's dangerous. But then it still goes about the moment you switch off. What's his name, McKenzie will do something. Panara, I'm proud to Swiss, Paranara. Swiss noem hom Paranara. Let's call him Paranara. When he breaks, when he does a tap kick, it's with experience. He knows when to. I think he calms things around, calms things down, and then a pack of forwards, which in the World Cup final we find that it's tough to move around on the field, and they try to move us around. So no, listen, we've played the last 10 times against them. One draw, 4 losses for them, and 5 wins for us. The last 10 times, and since we've played them. So, and it's been 2 points, 4 points, 1 point. That was before the 57s. But that was just 2 point, 1 point, 2 point, 3 points. So no, it's going to be a really, really tight. People should come and watch.
Rassie, the locks aren't the only talking point. Obviously, Billy wasn't in the list of injured players you read out just now. Talk us through the selection of Fileli.
Yeah, the guys who's not in the injured list is Steven Kitsoff, Jan Hendrik Wessels, Thomas de Tooy, Jaden Hendricks, Mani Libok, Marcus Wolema Pimpi, Lucanio Am, Kane Moody, and Willie Leroux. So I think everybody knows Willie is somebody that I coach a long time. I think I coached him double the years I coached Jasper in my life. I coached him from Stormers days. You know, he's at a time in his career where he accepts what his role is in the team and how he transfers, not the energy, looking on that married couples, transfer energy. He helps the guys to understand how big the test match is. How are we going to handle this? How are you going to read that fly off? When do you have to cover what space? And even Apalele is like this. If Watchalong Gaza comes in, he will be working closely with him. We had Pepsi when he came in to live almost with Sia. So there's certain players, look, we want to get into his 100th game. He's at 94. And I think he will play another 2-year rugby. I don't think he'll make another World Cup. If he make another World Cup, you know, I think it will be like Leon McDonald. Was it McDonald that was pulled back? Who was the guy that was pulled back? Yeah, Stephen Donald. Might be something like that. But his role in the team now is really to help youngsters, and when he plays, to help us win.
Jasper, it's been a tough period for you. Can you just talk us through how you dealt with the frustration and how you processed it?
Yeah, it was a bit frustrating, but I was fortunate enough to sort of stay in the environment and stay with the guys. So yeah, obviously it was 6 games that turned into 3.5 months, so it's been a long time. But no, I'm just really happy to be back and sort of up for selection and to be given the opportunity. I know the guys around me will do their jobs, and I just want to do mine to the best that I can.
Jasper, welcome back to Springbok Rugby. Welcome back to your press conference. I asked a question to Rassie though. Just going back to even Exhibit, and I don't want to hamper this point though. Can I ask you, you gave some explanation about what the role of Willie Leroux is. I looked at even it's in 122 test matches. Why is science forcing you as leadership to consider him for this test match? Is there not a temptation to possibly give him a rest ahead of this test match? Or does Rassie leadership believe he must be part of this test match coming?
No, I think if you look, he didn't play the previous test match, so he played off a bench, and then Salman got concussion. We would have rested him there, but Salman now got concussion. Archie would have played in that game, then Archie pulled his calf. So when we went to Australia, we said, listen here, if we keep momentum, we're going to swap teams, and we're going to make 6-7 changes in the team, and all 33 must get some next year experience under them. Now, being top of the pool for a week, because 1 week in New Zealand can catch us up, you know, so you kind of think, shit, let's get another one, let's try and win another one and try and stretch the lead. Then there's 3 games left, which should make it easier to try and win the Rugby Championship. So this is not a game, I think, to be taken lightly. This is not a game where if from some of your best players are available, and look, if everyone isn't injury free, you won't strap him and inject him and stuff like that. Our policy, if you don't train on Monday, you can't be selected. He was selected, and then he said he can't train. And then we said, okay, we don't select you. And then he trained. And then we put him back into the team. Now, let's see how he gets through today. And if he gets through today, fantastic. Then he brings a hell of a lot to the team.
Yeah. Rassie, you followed a particular selection policy 2 years ago when the All Blacks had 2 tests here. Given that injury list, do you have a license to do the same thing this time
around? Do you mean the license by...
you could make more changes 2 years ago. Do you have the same sort of license now?
Yes. I think definitely the relationship between the selectors in Saru and our board members and exco members, and I hope that the players understand it, is the moment we achieve something, it's 45 plus 20 management team and 110 injured guys who are wishing they can be here. We'll always celebrate for them as well. And then when we start training on Monday, it's back to reality. So our reality is, Kitsi, you bad luck not to play against the All Blacks. Jan Hendrik, Thomas de Toey. It's tough, pal. The guys ahead of you just nipped you, but Kitsi come back to full fitness. I mean, Jaden and Mani. Mani played in the World Cup semi-final. Mani, I want to say this, I forgot that. The players released for the Currie Cup is, for the franchises is Mani, Makazolo, Kane and Kitsi. Those 4 will be leaving us tomorrow, Wednesday, to play for their club sides, and then fall in on Sunday again to train for us for the New Zealand Cape Town week. But there, Mani can start maybe again, and Andre can be at 12. Because Andre is out now, and Damien can maybe have a rest, and Sasha can start off the bench. So we can start doing things like that only when it's going well. Because when it's not going well and people are upset and the emotions are high and I'm grumpy and they feel sorry for themselves, it takes us a day or two and then say, let's go the safer route for a week or 2. And that's the way it works.
Hey. So you talk about the caliber of the test. Obviously, the All Blacks won victory and they can catch you on the long. Was it then the temptation to perhaps shield Sasha from, was there a temptation to shield him from such a big test and maybe play somebody with the experience of Andre?
I think the only guy that I remember that wasn't shielded was maybe Gaffie de Toey. I played with him a test match and he was thrown in there in Dunedin now or somewhere in Auckland against the All Black team. I didn't want to look them in the eyes even. As we walked out in the tunnel and he was thrown there at 10, him and David van Ooselen. And he was basically carried off and never played for the Springboks again. Sasha is not the same way of getting where he is. Sasha was marked in under 15 systems, under 16 systems. He played through the SA schools, if I'm right, Z. He was captain of the junior box. He played under 20 rugby at the highest level. He played SAA games. He was in the midweek games. He trained against the Springboks last year's end of year tour fully. Then he's playing his 8th cap now. He's 6th cap now. So we've been building up from Wales, Romania, to Australia, up like that and up like that. To now take it away from him at this highest level will be stupid. Let him make some mistakes and learn and get better.
Hello everyone, welcome to Forever Rugby on Forever Sports. The excitement is palpable. It is Springboks versus the All Blacks. The game we've been looking forward to all month, all week, Oh yeah, really. It is a repeat of the 2023 Rugby World Cup final. It is the biggest rivalry in rugby, and it is finally here. Absolutely buzzing for kickoff, which is in 14 minutes, just over 14 minutes. So it's a little bit of time before kickoff, and just about as well, because I've got a few things to ask you, everyone that is watching. First things first, welcome to the channel. If you are new, please make sure you subscribe. On the road to 75,000 subscribers. Really think we can get there today. So go and subscribe to the channel. Show your support. I think we are like 400 people short of that 75,000 mark. So if you're new to the channel, make sure you go and smash a like on the video as well. And make sure you go and subscribe to the channel. Right, so in terms of the plan of action here, we've got 40 minutes, we've got build-up, we're going to be going through the teams, you've got profiles to show you exactly how big, how strong, in terms of you have to work that out yourself, but how big some of the players are, ages, for example, profiles. We're going to be going to the ground, for example. We've got some footage of the team arriving earlier, as well as an interview of some of the fans that are there. So we've got some content coming live from the stadium to look at as well. Which is very exciting. So plenty to look forward to. We're also going to be having, obviously, have a look at the team, some of the matchups, and then we need score predictions in. But I don't want score predictions just yet. I want you to let me know where you are watching the game from in the comments below. Let's do a bit of a check-in. We kind of like to play a thing called, so chat worldwide bingo. And basically what it is once you guys jump in the chat and put your location. Where are you watching from? Are you watching from South Africa, New Zealand, England, USA, South America? We've got so many different countries or people in different countries that tune in. That I want to do a bit of a check-in and find out exactly where everyone is and who you're supporting as well. Because we want to sort of do a check-in, are we talking about a lot of All Black supporters in the comments? I'll be surprised. This is obviously more of a Springbok natured a chat, so that is usually the dominance there, as you can see by the poll. We do have a poll running, by the way, as well, so make sure you go and vote on that poll and let me know who you are supporting, and we'll do score predictions a little bit later, so we've got plenty of time to really sort of settle in. The players are out there warming up. And so we do have some content coming from the stadium. So we're going to sort of go to the Springboks arriving earlier. Well, a little bit of some of the video of the Boks arriving earlier. When they arrive at Ayers Park, you can't really see too many other players, but gives you a bit of an indication of the kind of the vibe that is there. And plenty of fans who rocked up to watch the Boks arrive, and it was really good to see that they're going to get that reception, because there's so much energy that they get out of the fans when they arrive. For example, the vibe at the stadium, which apparently is absolutely rocking on the ground. So we're going to have a check about that in just a bit, but I'm seeing a couple of people checking in. So Frank Harris watching from New Zealand, Planet 66 from Bolton, Julian saying, how's it? From Guadalupe, we've got Reese from Stellenbosch, Mark Casey watching from Amsterdam, Jacqueline watching from Cayman Islands, and a proud Tafa expat missing home. Well, hopefully, Jacqueline, this is a bit of a place, or sort of home away from home. You can come and join the South African community over here. Kurt watching from Germany, Steve watching from Thailand, and Yapi watching from Newcastle and KZN. And we're also watching from South Africa. So plenty of South Africans in the chat, a couple of players. We've got a couple of contents ticked off there. We've got 3 of them really ticked off, which is not about 4 actually, I think. I lie. So usually we try and sort of tick off all the continents, which is quite cool. But we're going to very quickly have a look at exactly what the vibe was when the Boks arrived earlier. And we'll also have a look at what some of the fans have to say ahead of the match. This was them arriving about half an hour ago.
All right, guys, and I found an old school little Alistair Kutsia here. He's been on the channel a few times over here. So, guys, we've just finished come back from Australia. What did you think of the results overseas?
As expected there, James. Nothing wrong, a bit of 30-12 there, 33-8. You know what, like the Bokke are always going to dominate against a weak Australian team. And I've chatted with Steve previously about this on the pod. It's that Australian rugby is getting weaker and weaker, and it's sad to see. But if the Boks can capitalize on that, especially that side, is lovely.
Wonderful to have the opportunity to blood new guys and to give them the experience. We're going to need them for the next World Cup, and to grow the depth of the squad was wonderful. And to come back with 10 points, I'm a Bokke.
No, it's been fantastic to see. And obviously, you know, we've gone over there, we've blooded a few youngsters. Well, also blooded a few youngsters, but a few of the youngsters got a chance. And a few of them now have made the squad for today. We are lacking a bit in the lock department, but you know, where do you think this game will be won and lost today?
Yeah, look, as for me, I think it's going to be in the back line. And Apelele Fassi, as you say, is he's not really a youngster. He's had his chance before, but the Boks is a systems team, and he's back in the system now. And he's got a huge chance today against a massive opponent, probably for the first time. Australia away short was a tough game, but this is something else. The All Blacks are a different source, and in the back line, those up and unders are going to be huge. At the breakdown, of course, as well, but it's going to be an attacking game, a high-scoring game, a lot of movements in the back, and I think whoever scores more tries is going to win, and the back lines are going to be huge in that department.
Apelele is an old alien, so he's safe as houses under all those pressure points. Got full confidence in him. I think it's down to the physicality. I think that our forwards still have the measure of the All Blacks, and they're going to bang them up front, and I think that's where the backs will be able to launch their attacks. And yeah, we're going to win by 15 points.
A win by 15 points, eh? So if we're going to beat them up front and just run them off the line, eh?
Absolutely.
Fantastic. Ali, what were you thinking?
No, this old man doesn't know what he's talking about. It's going to be a lot closer than that.
Are we going to get score prediction from you?
I'm going to go 35-31 Bokke.
35-31. Jeds, thank you so much for talking to us. We'll catch you soon.
Most welcome. Cheers.
Right, so there we go. As you can see, a bit of a friend of the channel, as the block and his father over at Ayers Park, giving us some score predictions and kind of the what they expect to see today. Now, people, we are just over half an hour away from kickoff, so things are getting even more exciting. Really cool to see. A lot of people still checking in. Make sure to go and vote on the poll, by the way. I want to try and get the vote to 1,500 votes, and we're going to close that poll in about 15 minutes, open a new poll saying, who do you think is going to win? And that's going to be an interesting one, because I think, you know, for a long time, the Boks go into this as proper favorites. You know, it's two things. First of all, the All Blacks are very much in a transitional period, which the Boks are to a certain degree as well. And there's a couple new players coming in, some new members of management, for example. So there is a little bit of a transitional period for the Boks, but not nearly the same as for the All Blacks, who have got a whole new a new coaching staff, for example. Leon McDonald having moved away, a new captain, very much a new era for the All Blacks. And you look at the rugby we've played so far this season, the Boks have been really good. You know, they've evolving their attack, for example. They're playing exciting rugby. They're scoring lots of points. We're on an incredible streak in terms of scoring those points. I think it's like scoring like 30 plus points in like 3 games or more for the first time in a while. Yes, maybe against a poor Wallaby side, but we scored points against Ireland as well in that first test and the second test, but not getting tries. And the All Blacks with a little bit of a mixed bag so far this season. Looked very good in the last test against Argentina, a bit shaky against England. Obviously, weren't really at the races in Wellington against Argentina that first test when they lost. So, they've not had the season so far they would like. And the Boks would have won today's game. That Rugby Championship becomes seriously close to coming back to South Africa, because it would give at least probably about a 9-point gap between ourselves and the All Blacks, which actually give us a bit of space to even lose in Cape Town, beat Argentina twice, and get the Rugby Championship. But as Rasmus said, we really need to get the Freedom Cup back. That is a massive thing. We've got to try and get this Freedom Cup back, because we haven't had it in a long time. And if we can get that back, then I think that's mission. That's the success of the year, if you ask me. I think get the Freedom Cup back, win the Rugby Championship. A frustrating series against Ireland, 1-1. Thought we could have beat them in the second test, but we've still got so much to play for. And I think that this Rugby Championship with the Freedom Cup, you get that right, and then I think the entire year becomes a great success, which for me is important in terms of building towards the next World Cup. Yes, obviously, but I want to pick up trophies along the way. And Freedom Cup, for example, maybe doesn't seem like a significant trophy, but it is. It's because you have to beat New Zealand twice. And the nice thing about it is once you win it, it then becomes much harder for them to get it back, because they have to then beat us twice. And that's why it's been so difficult for us to go and win the Freedom Cup, because you have to go and beat New Zealand twice. If you lose one game, for example, or even the draw of the games, it's not enough, because then they just retain it. So it's far easier to retain than it is to try and win it outright, because you have to go and win 2 matches. So yeah, that is the Freedom Cup, which is on the line over the next 2 games. Down in Cape Town is where it'll be decided, obviously, in a week's time. At a sold-out Cape Town. They reckon apparently they could have sold that game out 4 times. There was such a big demand. It's going to be so cool to see how this Bok team continues to evolve and continues to go from strength to strength. And it's a brave Bok management. They're backing players. You've got somebody like a Sasha, 22 years old, starting at fly half against the All Blacks today. Massive call. BITDEFENDER, just 6 caps to his name. He's getting backed today as well. So really cool to see that this coaching staff are willing to risk playing inexperienced players. Ben Jason Dixon, he wasn't a Springbok 2 months ago. He's never been in and around an SAA side. I don't even think he actually played at age group level either. He's had to really work his way into the box setup, and they're backing him today. Ruan Lokia, also a youngster, coming off the bench. So there's definitely a new generation of players that are starting to come through. In the midst, the experience of your Sia Khaleesi's, your Ebenezer Smith coming off the bench today, but your Peter the toys, and your Kubas Ranok, not necessarily the most experienced test player with regards to the number of test caps, but has been around the block, is an older player, sort of senior figure in the squad, and he brings a host of experience with him as well. And he's got something to prove tonight. He needs to go out there and show people that he is still very much at this level, which is going to be interesting to sort of see how some of these older players have to go and kind of continue proving that they're still adding value, that they're still good enough to play at this level, and they're not going to be binned just yet. So we're going to look at the sides. We're going to start with the All Blacks, and we'll go look at exactly what some of the calls they made, and then we'll look at the Springbok side a bit closer to the game as well. And then we'll get some score predictions. So, yes, I got another 10 minutes left on the poll. We go up to 1,500 votes. Maybe we can get to 2,000 votes. Go and let me know who you are supporting on that poll. We're going to create a new one at 1:45, asking you who you think is going to win the game. We're going to get your score predictions in. We're going to have anthems very soon as well. So, lots to look forward to. But in the meantime, Scott Robertson has named his side. It's an interesting side. It's fairly consistent to what we've kind of been seeing over the last few months in terms of some of the commendations. But Scott Barrett back, for example, is a big call. Good to see him back. because you want to be playing against the best sides. And we also had a Scott Barrett press conference, which we'll also show in a little bit in terms of his words ahead of the game. Let's have a look at exactly how New Zealand will line up when kickoff happens in about 25 minutes. Right, so there we go. A couple of changes to that All Black side. Very notably, Sam Kane getting a start. A bit of a redemption arc for him, potentially, if he were to really pitch up today and put in a big shift. A big one as well is obviously the return of Sam Kane. We're going to hear from him in a moment. Scott Barrett, who returns and captains the side against the Springboks. He is now the official All Blacks captain and has had to watch a lot of the season on the side of the field. Had that injury, for example, and not very injured this season as well. So not had his best season in terms of staying fit and building that momentum, but he is back, he is starting, and he did address the media yesterday where he spoke about how big of a game this is. He's actually never lost to the Boks at Ellis Park. So he's got a 100% win rate in All Blacks jersey there, which he didn't actually know about, actually be reminded of. But certainly going to be something that's going to give them a lot of confidence, the fact that they haven't lost to the Boks at Ellis Park for 10 years. Not a good record. Time for us to try and change that. And this is exactly what he had to say yesterday.
Scott, after a couple of weeks out with injury, how excited are you to be back in this big occasion this week?
Yeah, no, I'm pumped, fizzing to get out there tomorrow night and put the All Black jersey on again.
Thumbs all good?
Sorry?
Thumbs all good?
Yeah, the hands, good, yeah.
What's it been like watching on from the sideline over the last couple of tests?
It's been, I guess I got used to it this year with I guess the club rugby, the Super Rugby, and the last couple of weeks has been challenging. You sort of want to be out there and helping the boys and playing and influencing where you can. But the boys have, I guess, learned a bit in the last couple of weeks of what's required every time you wear the jersey.
Has it changed at all the way you've approached captaincy?
I guess you're always learning, growing, developing. The bottom line is you got to perform as captain, and that's what I'm looking to do tomorrow night.
What kind of challenge are you expecting from the Springboks at Ellis Park? Big one in terms of World Rugby, isn't it?
Yeah, I think the Springboks have certainly got a well-rounded game. They can challenge you with an arm wrestle and a real battle at a set piece if they tactically want to go there. And the flip side of that is they've shown the last couple of weeks that they can certainly attack, and even against Ireland in the June series, they're playing some attacking rugby. So we're anticipating, we're prepared for that, and we're excited by that.
Scott, last time you played the Boks, it was the final where you lost. Is this game in a way personal for you?
I think I can't change anything that happened from the final. Probably won't ever get over that. I think it's about this group turning up tomorrow night, and Ellis Park against the Springboks. No other test like it, and that's what we're excited about.
How's the preparation been without attack coach Liam McDonald?
We've adapted. I think the coaches have shuffled in, and certainly we've bounced this week, and the boys have been energised. We've sort of felt for Rangi, but obviously those conversations have been had behind the scenes, and we've moved forward as a group.
Just with Eben, the uncertainty initially at the start of the week, him not playing and not playing, now being in the side on the bench, just your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think it's he could be starting for all we know. I think we're anticipating a strong pack. If he's there, he'll certainly bolster that, and we're excited by those challenges.
Scott, just refresh my mind, your history at Ellis Park, you played there before?
Yes, played there for the All Blacks, and at Super Rugby. It's an impressive stadium, and excited by the occasion tomorrow night.
That means you got 100% record against the Springboks at Ellis Park?
I'm not too sure. I haven't actually looked at the
10 years
stats.
ago since they beat the All Blacks at Ellis Park.
There you go then. We'll hopefully keep that going tomorrow night.
You've got inexperienced guys who haven't experienced Ellis Park and altitude. How do you go about comforting those guys, especially those guys on the bench with the bomb squad?
Yeah, I think this week, particularly Tuesday training, we certainly felt it, and as the week's gone on, our preparation's improved, and we've adapted to the conditions, and I think it's the same for both teams. So we'll look to play for 80 minutes and take the Springboks deep.
Thanks.
Scott. Appreciate it.
Right, so a couple of thoughts there from Scott Barrett, who is back and captains this side. And the big thing for him is that he's never lost at Ellis Park, which is quite a big thing. And I think a lot of these players, none of these players really would have ever lost at Ellis Park playing against the Boks. So it's something that the Boks need to try and put right. There's no point calling it Fortress Ellis when it's not, just statistically, against the All Blacks, which unfortunately it hasn't been. It is the mecca of South African rugby. I mean, it's just on screen now, and it is just such an iconic stadium, very frustrating in terms of how it's sort of folded out in terms of the area and stuff like that, but it is just still so iconic, and it's a cauldron. And if we can get a victory today, we sort of getting that back into meaning what it really should mean. And there's 23 men from South Africa who are going to try and do exactly that. Let's have a look at exactly how the Boks will be lining up. I've got PJ Powers out there. They rolled her out as well. I mean, that's just everyone's out there. Let's have a look at exactly who the Boks will have when they run out in just under 15 minutes time. All starting to heat up. I'm going to start a new poll, by the way, and that is going to be who you think is going to win. We've got your support in, and I also want you to start getting your score predictions in the comments. Let me know or what you think is going to happen, and get me those score predictions in, and let's have a look at exactly who the Boks will have in their starting lineup and on the bench. Right, so what a team it is that has been named, and by the way, the atmosphere at the stadium looks absolutely electric. I'm about to show you exactly how electric it looks, and if you're there, you must be having an absolute phenomenal time. But just check out the atmosphere. This was earlier as the teams went out. The teams are about to come up, by the way. We'll have anthems underway very, very shortly, but let's get a bit of a taste of some of the atmosphere the players are about to experience in the game. Right, as you can see, absolutely electric scenes over at Ellis Park. The players are on the field. They've just hit a load for the dignitaries. Gaten McKenzie out there. What a lad. Saying how's it to all the South African Bok players. It is officially national anthem times. We will have the national anthem first of New Zealand, followed by the South African national anthem, and then kickoff coming up very, very shortly. We'll see you in a bit.
Oh
Right, anthems underway. We now also have, by the way, a flyover from FlySAF Air, which is heading towards the stadium. We're going to have that very, very shortly. Then the haka. And tell you what, it is an absolutely terrific atmosphere over there. The national anthem, phenomenal. You've got Tatiana Schoonmaker as the flag bearer for South Africa. Double gold medal winner, 4-time Olympic medalist. As TJ Perenara begins to lead the haka, we will have kickoff very, very shortly. And in what is an absolutely packed out Ellis Park, and the atmosphere absolutely electric. I mean, yeah, just we watch these things, don't you? And this is where you just want to be there, don't you? I mean, in terms of, would you want to be anywhere else right now in the world than at Ellis Park? I genuinely think this could be the best place to be in the world right now. It is absolutely phenomenal. And we are going to be uploading a couple of videos throughout this game, by the way, on the channel. So things like the haka, for example, will be up very, very shortly afterwards. So you can go and watch what it was like from a fan point of view in the stands to watch the haka, which is always an absolute treat. And yeah, we'll have other content on the channel throughout the game. So make sure you subscribe to the channel as well. We're very, very close to getting to that big 75,000 subscribers mark. You can make that possible if you go and subscribe to the channel right now. Kickoff coming up, but that is the end of the haka. Here comes the end of the flyby, and then we will finally have the kickoff. Let's get your score predictions in, people. We have got over 3,000 votes on the poll asking you supporting. The next poll is going to be, who will win this clash? Very, very simple. South Africa or the All Blacks? And I want to score predictions in here. What are we saying, people? What are we saying? Here it comes. It's actually got a massive Emirates sign in the back here. So it's not FlySAF. It usually is FlySAF because that is the partner airline. But that is not a FlySAF plane. That is very much an Emirates plane, which has driven by Andrew Brace, by the way, the man in the middle with the whistle. And he'll be assisted by Matthew Carley and Jordan Way with Brian McNeese in the TMO box. It looks like the box will be, I think they'll be receiving kickoff, just waiting to find out exactly on that. Yeah, but in the meantime, I said, please do smash like on the video. Please do subscribe to the channel. Let's get up to that big 75,000 subscribers mark. And let's really start to settle in. Are we ready? That is the big question. Are we ready for what is going to be an absolute cracker? This could be an all-timer. I genuinely think it could be an all-timer. So it will be the box receiving kickoff. As mentioned, New Zealand will be playing right to left. Bowden Barrett will get things underway very, very shortly. In fact, Damien McKenzie now arrives and he does take the ball. It did seem a bit strange that Bowden Barrett was going to be the one. Damien McKenzie has now officially stepped in and he will get us underway very, very shortly. And I'm going to open a beer just for... Oh, yeah, listen to that. Damien McKenzie, ball in hand. The box to receive kickoff. You got a couple of score predictions there. John saying SA 35, New Zealand 32. Ali saying box 18-21. And we do have kickoff. Damien McKenzie goes down the left-hand side. It will be a first touch for BITDEFENDER in that number 4 jersey for the first time in about 4 or 5 years. Kubashana will get a first touch. He goes to the boot, and that'll be contestable as Currie Cup gives chase, and he runs into Jordy Barrett, makes a very good tackle. New Zealand ball inside their own half. TJ Perenara is milking the penalty for not rolling away, and it does come as Cheslin Colby is pinged for not rolling. Frustrating, got himself wedged in there, couldn't really do much. And TJ Perenara, who is one of the most vocal scrum halves out there, wins that early penalty. And interesting to see what they might do. Jordy Barrett's got ball in hand here. He is going to kick to touch. At altitude, he could literally have a shot at goal here because the ball does travel so far, especially somebody like him who absolutely thumps the ball. So they do go to the left-hand side and they do find touch. It was a good tackle here from Cheslin Colby, and you can just see Sam Kane very cleverly getting over that ball and making sure that Cheslin Colby cannot roll away, has no chance, does Cheslin. Go to the front of the line, by the way, to Artie Severe. No contact from the Springboks. First carry out for Jordy Barrett. Brought down by Sasha Zulu. Inside 22. Now the right-hand side. It's Artie Sevilla with his first carry of the game. A couple of meters as he usually does. Perinara goes to the right-hand side once again. First carry of the day for Ethan Blackadder. Now back down the left-hand side. Scott Barrett thumped in the tackle there by Bongi Manambi and Oxen Chair. Sia Khaleesi getting over, being told to leave it by Andrew Brace. Artie Sevilla once again. Ben Jason Dixon gets up, takes out his legs. McKenzie goes to Jordy Barrett, posts it up to Rico Wani, almost makes a half break. Brought down by Peter Steff, the toy. Back into the 22, the All Blacks go. Sam Kane now with the ball in hand. 6 phases so far from the All Blacks. Down the right-hand side. Good hands to McKenzie. Pops it up to Taro Lomax. And he's got a bit of space here. It's Bowden Barrett. And he brings in Ethan Blackhead, who comes inside. The massive tackle on him, though. Pops the ball back inside. Still alive now. Damien McKenzie throws a bit of a dummy, trying to find a bit of space. Runs into Damien Lendi. Bongi Manambi asking for a knock-on. Not given. Artie Sevilla now. Lost a bit of momentum. Good scramble defense early on there from the box. Now here is Sam Kane. And he runs to Oxen Chair. 10 phases so far from the All Blacks. What a start this is from them. Good continuity. Now a big hit there coming on to Marty Williams, starting a number 1 jersey here. Jasper doing very well to roll away. Cody Taylor. He'll know exactly what this game means and what the stadium is like to play in. Now Ethan Blackadder once again. Trying to get over the ball. There is Damon Delendi unsuccessfully. Good momentum this year. Rico Wani. Sashfami Gomez and Jesse Creel now on him. Trying to hold him up. Unsuccessfully though. Back down the right-hand side, they're going to go. TJ Bernard looking for options, and he finds Ethan Blackadder. 15 phases. Relentless defense this year from the box, but it's really good to tackle as well from New Zealand. Ball down the right-hand side. A lot of space here. Has Artie Sevilla up in the Fassi, and that's brilliant. Absolutely brilliant defense. Fassi makes the hit. He gets bundled on the touch as well with assistance. A couple of words between Artie Sevilla as well and up in the Fassi. Damien Delendi, the man who bundled him into touch after the initial hit was made by Fassi, and that's a massive, massive pass to play from the box to go virtually 2.5 minutes of just defending. And now first line, it'll be a 4-man line out. And Jasper Wiese, he gets his first carry, and he almost gets through actually. Solid good carry that from Jasper Wiese. Back into the side. His first game in the box, but it's knocked on in the carry. We're going to have a first scrum now. That's a bit frustrating. Right, big scrum coming up here. Right, let's give me an interesting facet of the game here. Something which the Boks really want to try and dominate. And I think an area which the All Blacks have improved a lot in is the scrum. And they'll have a nice attacking scrum here. Full left-hand side of the field. Full width to work with, really. T. Perinara goes straight underneath. Their ball is available at the back. Goes to Jordy Barrett. Good tackle from Sasha Gomez-Zulu. Sia Khaleesi comes through and he wants to touch that. Back onto the defense. Go the Boks. TJ Perinara complaining about the traffic. Andrew Brace having none of it. Good read there from Jesse Creel and Cody Taylor. Now Sam Kane. Ben Jason Dixon up nice and quickly to tackle his opposite number. Perinara down the right-hand side. There goes Tupou Vai. Looking to try and make the number 5 jersey his own. Rush defense there from Jesse Creel. Bounced off Jordy Barrett and is eventually brought down by Frans Moherba. Patience needed here from the Boks. Artie Sevilla pops it to Damien McKenzie. Damien McKenzie seeing a bit of space. Gets the off away to Bowden Barrett. He throws away to Sam Kane. Sam Kane goes to the Blackadder. Blackadder comes and Fassi brings him down. Pick up and go. Was he onside? Is the question. It seems so. Now, eventually the ref blows the whistle. Not sure entirely what this is going to be. This could be a penalty for the All Blacks. Could just be a knock-on. Could be phenomenal defending from Apelele Fassi if he's actually stopped this, by the way. I think we've got a knock on here from the All Blacks. Which, if it is absolutely phenomenal from Apelele Fassi. And there's going to be a penalty from the looks of it now for New Zealand. I think TMO's had a look here. I think he might have been offside when he got up to his feet and then made the tackle on Sam Kane. I think that's probably the biggest issue here. And it's a yellow card for Upper. Well, that's not going to make life easy at all. And it was that second team. The first tackle was brilliant, but then got up and had another go. And Upper is now going to spend 10 minutes in the bin. I mean, to be fair, that had to be a try. I think if Ian Blacker pops us or draws a man and pops us to Caleb Clark, I think Caleb Clark goes over. So Fussy goes to the bin. A couple of boos echoing around the park. They're not particularly happy. But I think it's a pretty fair call, to be fair. I think it was fairly cynical. If that pass goes to hand, they do score a try. So, big moment now. Looking for it. No, in fact, they're going to pop it into touch. Bowden Barrett eventually arriving to do the honours. The question is, can they capitalise here? Apple Fassi in the bin for 10 minutes. Big opportunity this year from the All Blacks. Currie Taylor goes to the front. That's Artisfield once again. They're going to the rolling more here, the All Blacks. It looked pretty good as well. They're going to spin it down the side and side. It's going to be far too easy. And they are over within the first 7 minutes. The worst possible start for the Boks. Currie Taylor, so much experience. Great line art. And they're over. So frustrating that. And especially go down to 40 men to concede immediately. And you can see how well that more set up. I mean, that's not even about the 14 men. That's just a good more and not well read enough by the Boks. So that's going to make life a little bit complicated. Right, Dave McKenzie, his first kick of the match. It's not, I wouldn't say it's straightforward, but very convertible. Kicked really well against Argentina in that second test. I don't think he actually missed one, to be honest. So to add the extra 2 points, and Dave McKenzie makes no mistake. Look at how that ball flies in the high fault. Right, 8 minutes in, New Zealand 7 points to 0 up. South Africa have not had the ball in hand at all so far. And it's the experience of Currie Taylor as well. Just waits for it. No, he had the dominance. They just peel it to the right-hand side, shift the contact. And the perfect start here for the All Blacks. The worst possible start from the Springboks. You know, we talked about the entire week about starting well, but making sure they don't go behind, for example, bringing the intensity. That's not happened, unfortunately, and we are going to have to try to come from behind. A hard kick off right against the touchline, and I tell you what, I think that's too far. Kurt Lawrence to try to keep it in. That's a big mistake then coming from Sasha Mazulu. No, I think actually it's come off Rico Awani. I think they thought that it was... no, it's going to be a New Zealand line. It's come off Curtly Orenser, who made a really good chase. I think they are having a check here. No, it was out in the full. It's going to go back to the scrum. That's really, really poor. You can't compound errors like that. He's put this right up against the touchline. Curtly Orenser desperately tried to get up there. Oh, no. No. That comes off Rico Awani as he's standing on the... But... his foot is in touch there. Okay, so his foot's in touch, which means that when it touches him, because his foot is in touch, it's basically... It's obviously the same as being out on the full. So that's the issue. Curtly Orenser had made the initial touch, for example, and then Rico Awani, then it would have been... or probably would have been a knock-on from Curtly Orenser. If it was not backwards and then to Rico Awani, then it would have been a South African line. But because his foot was in touch when he, actively tried to catch the ball, it is out in the full. And we're back on the halfway line for a scrum. So not how you want to respond. You can see the try and then make another mistake. Puts all the pressure right back on you. Decent scrum that from the All Blacks. And Tita Perenara goes to that left boot. Sees a bit of space on that left-hand side. And he's found it absolutely perfect. That's going to be a 50-22 as well. How have you not read that? And this is all from not getting the kickoff right. Free scrum, so much space. There's nobody, and that's the man down with no BITDEFENDER. And the All Blacks have gone from scoring a try to a line on the halfway line, and now inside the 22. Now Blackadder, desperate defense now for the box. Penalty for the box. And this has come from the TMO, I think. I think there's a push here on Sasha Zulu. Malcolm Marks not looking happy with things. And Angie Brace is already going to have a couple of words here with TJ Perenara. So Sasha Zulu will kick to touch. Then the Boks will have a first opportunity with ball in hand, which we haven't had yet. Curtis Ryan goes. Sasha Zulu inside ball. There's Curtis Orange. Curtin Colby right now on the right hand side. Keep forgetting that they keep switching numbers. Now Damien Delaney with a bit of space. Ethan Blackadder makes the tackle. Box the ball in hand on the halfway line on the left hand side. First carry up for Francois Herbert. He's met hard in the tackle and driven backwards is the fridge. Now Bongi Minambi. He puts his head down. Good clearing that from Jasper Wiese. Kubus Rana goes to Ruan Nokia. Losing a bit of momentum here at the box. I think we're going to go to the boot here. They do go to the boot. Sasha Zulu puts it to the boot, lifts it high in the air. Jesse Creel's leading the chase. And David McKenzie comes away with a bit of chip and chase here from David McKenzie. And Chesman Colby's there. Gets away from David McKenzie. Gets away from Tupo Vai. Still going to Chesman Colby. Slightly isolated. Bongi Manami does right to provide some support. Now on the left-hand side, the Oxen chair. To Sasha Zulu. He has the ball in behind. Kicked ahead there from Curtie Orange. Go Curtie! And he's trying, oh no, he's trying to just dab it ahead and he's not, and he's allowed one of the All Black players to get back and get it. If he just kicks it a bit harder, he goes over for a try. Almost needs to actually just dive on it. Turnover ball, Artie Severe now. Right by the try line. It had to be a try. It was so well worked by Sasha Zulu. It was the right idea to go to the boot in behind. And Dan McKenzie will clear. Finds a very good clearance actually. And Sasha Zulu will not take quickly. That could have been a try. Probably should have been a try. Yeah, I see. Just trying like dab it slightly more. And Will Jordan then gets back and dives on it. BITDEFENDER watching on in with a bit of nerves over there. If we can just score here, respond, kind of negate that yellow card. PSF Toy goes up and takes it well. First line for second line for the box. Looking for the rolling more. They go down the short side. Has gone down. Penalty for the box as well. Very, very nice, boys. I'll go to the line once again and let's keep building this momentum. Just slow things down. Get up BITDEFENDER back on the park. He should be back, I think, in about the next 2 minutes, I'd imagine. And Sasha Zulu does find touch. Arsenal moved on the left-hand side, Joe. Wasn't a clean take, but that's almost through. 5 meters out. Bit of a fumble from Ben Jason Dixon, who then threw it back to Sasha Mazulu. He came to join the line-out. So a bit of innovation there from the box. Ball sort of bobbles out. Now Kobus Rana goes to Jasper Visa on the angle. Pick up and go. You have Peter Steph the toy. Box 2 meters out. Pick up and go. You have from Oxen Chair. He's just short. 5 phases from the box here. Right on the doorstep. Penalty advantage here as well. It comes from Andrew Brace. Ben Jason Dixon. Penalty is awarded. Go to the line, boys. Go to the line. This is good pressure. You go to the line. You score a try. You have to fast back on the park. And that means that the yellow card basically, in theory, didn't really mean much. Get yourself back to all evens. And then we start again. But this time with a full contingent. As Artie Sevilla was penalised for not releasing. Right, we do go to the line. 5 meters out here. And they go to the front of the line to Ruin Nokia. Looking for the rolling more here out of the box. Trying to drag Bongi Manami, who goes to the side. Bongi Manami! It's over! There it is. You're not stopping him from that kind of range. Top dog goes over. The box respond. First try of the match for South Africa. And that's what we like to see. Good dominance, good lineouts. He fed it, he waited, and that's just sheer power coming from him. There's pressure on pressure on pressure. A couple of penalties coming our way as well. Right, big kick to come. Because Abelafasi was warming up. He will be back after for the restart. Oh, has he actually knocked it on? Oh, he's missed it. He's run out of time, Sasha Mazulu. And he's fuming. That's pretty controversial, actually. The All Blacks started advancing before he went because they said that they reckon that the try shouldn't have been awarded. And Andrew Brace ignored that fact. And Sasha Mazulu's now had the timer come up on him. That's going to be quite controversial because as soon as you break your line, you retake the kick. The timer should restart. Love to see the replay of that. It's a nice touch from Sasha Mazulu. He takes it out the air, then finds clearance. And you can see how pissed off he is. So having a look over here at the ground here from Bongi Manambi, which is dislodged. Yeah, I mean. So it was dislodged in the tackle. He almost sort of regains it as he goes over the line. So that'll be a controversial moment in itself. But back to 15 on 15 here. Now Perenara down the right side. McKinney, long pass from Burden. So Jordy Barrett, chip over the top. And Curtly Aronson comes away with it inside the 22. Ball knocked back with a lot of All Black pressure coming in. But eventually it is secured by the Springboks. And of course, Rana goes short to Jasper Visa. And available once again for Kobus Rana. He's got Ruan here, but he goes back to Sasha Mazulu. Needs to find a good clearance. Yeah, I just need to settle down now a little bit here. Just settle into the game. Almost 20 minutes. What 20 minutes been? I am like sweating over here. And I think we've actually burgled that. It's been knocked down. Ball's available here for South Africa. So that's really, really good work at the thing. And then Scott Barrett then goes and steals it back. So eventually it will be an All Blacks ball. Now back to Perenard, Dave McKenzie. McKenzie lifted high in the air. Caleb Clark, Cheslin Colby, Apele Fassi. Caleb Clark takes it. Cheslin Colby left it for Apele Fassi, who got the timing really wrong, but he's slightly isolated, and has Damon Delendi won the penalty? He has indeed. So good at the breakdowns, Damon Delendi. Yeah, really good work there. I mean, we initially, the contest was nowhere, to be honest, but Caleb Clark was slightly isolated. Damon Delendi getting himself into a good position alongside Jesse Creel, and wins the penalty, and will go once again into the All Blacks half. Now that Fashfan comes through, goes, pops it up. It's here. Khaleesi just didn't manage to regather, knocks it on. We'll have a scrum there. Didn't have the ball as he went into contact there. I think the timing a little bit off there. Right, big scrum here coming. The scrums have actually been very interesting so far. It's been pretty good here from the All Blacks. They've held them. They've held their own pretty well. I'll be interested to see that try again, because he does seem to not, like, the ball's dislodged. It never really travels forward. He kind of regathers it as it is dislodged, and then there's definitely downward pressure. So the TMO would have had a look. They would have seen it. And then if they're happy with the try, then I think that there's a case to be had by Sasha Mazuli, because they started walking towards the referee in protestation, which then technically breaks the line. Anyway, down the right-hand side, we go to Rico Wani. David Lendy used to try and shift a bit. Will Jordan, up towards 22. Far too much space down the right-hand side. Good counter-ruck, though. And Jasper Visa, David Lendy come through. And I think that's going to be more called. They're trying to hold him to the touchline. And the ball is out. And I think this will be a South Africa line-out. It is indeed. That's great pressure at the breakdown. Really, really good work that being done there. Damon Delendi is getting through work here. Well, you know, I'm not happy about the lack of gap there is for him at the line-out. Ronok here goes up. The line's been good so far. Flat there for Sia Khaleesi. And he bounces off Sam Kane. Eventually brought down by Artie Severe. Good friend, Sia Khaleesi and Artie Severe. A very, very close relationship. It's actually a very nice relationship between the two. Sasha Mazuli was almost caught in the ball. He lifts it high in the air. Curtly Lawrence is going to, I'm sure the Cobblers going to have to give a good contest on the ground. And it's dived on it by, I think that's Ruan Nokia who's got there in the end. Damon Delendi gives it away to Sasha Mazulu. And he's trying to bring out that the torpedo. Well taken by Will Jordan. He looks assessing his options. He wants to run, does Will Jordan. He runs into Oxen Chair, makes a good tackle. Ball goes back to Perenara. Not too many options. Jordy Barrett goes left to his brother Bowden. He sees a bit of space on the left-hand side. And he's found touch on the full. So it'll be a line back where he kicked it. Fractional that. And it'll be a South Africa like this. The tempo of this game, absolutely mental at the moment. Really good tempo. And it's been exhilarating first 25 minutes. I'll tell you what, you keep this up for 80, and these players are going to be heaving at altitude. Yeah, Kwasi, I could have been at the game, but then I wouldn't have been able to be here with you people. So, got to do it for the channel. So feel free to smash a like on the video in lieu of me not being at the game and witnessing what has been a pretty great encounter. That's a bit of a messy line out, and Kubo's right, not too many options. Try a dab over the head, charge down by Perenard. Will be another block line out. They've lost about 10 meters, but we'll still have the feed at the line out. David Ellender goes to Sia Khaleesi. Sia Khaleesi carrying in the midfield. Nice strong leg drive, assisted by Apple Fassi. Ball available for Reinach. To Ben Jason Dixon. Big hit on him. They're trying to hold him up as he works his way down to the ground. Now he has to release. Reinach goes to David Delaney, pops it up to Sasha Gamazulu. And it's left behind, and I think that's forward. It is forward. A little bit too complicated, guys. Every now and again, we can keep it simple. Don't have to be so complicated all the time here. And there's a bit of an injury here. I think it's Ruan Okia who could be down. Yeah, this Ruan Okia is down. He's got a cut in his eye. And if this is a blood bin, we are going to see Evan Etzebeth come onto the park. I think it doesn't look too bad. It is going to be a change here, I think. Right, so there is blood for Ruan Okia, which means that Evan Etzebeth, who was initially not supposed to play this game, will come on. And there he is. So Ruan Okia is off with the blood bin. Apologies, skateboard jar. I forgot to remove the yellow card. It is finished. It is up. So, oh no, hang on. That's the entire score. Let's not remove that. There we go. Right, 5.7. It is 25 minutes and 31 seconds. The clock is correct. And Eben Etzebeth is onto the park before we were not here for a blood bin. So we'll see Ruan back hopefully in a few minutes. Still haven't had our own put in yet at the box, which is frustrating. I'd love to see what the scrum can do, but we haven't had the chance to do really because we haven't had the feed just yet. Massive scrum that from the box. Big shot, but they do use it. Jordy Barrett goes up. He goes to Rico Wani. Of course, Rana trying to get over that ball. But available for TJ Perinari. He goes to Mackenzie, pops it inside to Ethan Blackadder. Big tackle on him from Jasper Wiese and Sia Khaleesi. Now Scott Barrett looking for options. He runs into the two props. He's down tall in the pack. Now back in the pocket, Mackenzie. Sees a bit of space on that left-hand side. Cheslin Colby and Apple Fassi. Oh, that's brilliant by Cheslin Colby. Goodness me. That is absolutely phenomenal. But has he not done it? Ooh, he's not convinced. He reckons he had done that, but touch judge saying no. We're gonna need to see the other angle. I think he's actually done it. The boos echo around. We want to see the touchline angle because if he's done that and they've robbed him of that, then that is terrible officiating. So now it wasn't quite 50-22 though, because it was carried back. And Sia Khaleesi once again carrying in that sort of centered channels as he has under Tony Brown so far. Was trying taking his time. Probably look for the box kick. He has got Jasper Wiese blocking. And it's going to find touch. It's just going to find touch. Caleb Clark underneath it. And that's back towards the halfway line. Decent touch find of that from Kobus Reinach. So 5.7 it remains as we approach the half-hour mark. We can do a bit of stats checking as well. 56 possession so far for New Zealand, 44% for the box. And they go short there, and Caleb Clark now. Decent carry from him now, back up to Scott Barrett as the All Blacks get back on the front foot here. And Jasper Wiese does win the penalty. Yeah, he went over. And initially, he went over and then we played the ball on the ground, which was a bit of an issue. So we didn't see the referee when he blew the whistle. I thought he might have been pinged for that. But he had rights to go over the ball. He's won the penalty. And he's had a pretty good start to this game so far, has has Jasper Wiese. Now, this is interesting. Sasha Van Gogh is going to have a proper goal here. He's basically at his own 10-meter line. This will be a 60-meter kick. It is going to be on the 10-meter line. Look, he's got the distance. It's at altitude, so he's got the distance. But you can see here very clearly, let's go. Player actually goes off his feet, to be honest. Then has a go here, does Jasper Wiese. Wins the penalty. And now, I'll tell you what, Sasha Van Gogh Zulu goes and slots this. And that's a brilliant piece of play from Jasper Wiese. And he's pulled it from the looks of it. Oh, has he? No, he has not. He has not. It's straight through the middle. Sasha Van Gogh Zulu, you absolute biscuit. Box take the lead. Well done, Jasper Wiese. That is a phenomenal kick. Absolutely phenomenal kick. That's about a 62, 63 meter kick. Brilliant stuff, that from Sasha Van Gogh Zulu. And Box into the lead with 10 minutes to go. And they go short here to the All Blacks. And Colby's there, but taken really well. Then knocked on by Caleb Clark. So it will be a Box scrum. Our first Box scrum, actually. Hopefully, this could be penalty time. Nice line idea, actually. It was a bit of a... So David McKenzie was shaping to kick down the right. Then he popped it to Bowden Barron. And then basically just chipped it down the left-hand side. So it was nice innovation from the All Blacks. Execution was pretty good as well, actually. Caleb Clark just not able to hang on. He knocks it forward. It'll be a first scrum. With South African feed, so a big opportunity now for the front row to really get stuck in to the New Zealand front row. I think Tara Lomax is a good scrummager. I think that that Tamati Williams is someone that Frans Mahurba can have a go at. Yeah. Right, Club's trying to feed the scrum. Frans Mahurba versus Tamati Williams. Oxen Chair versus Tara Lomax. Bongi Manambi Koe Taylor in the middle of those four. Right up on the right-hand side. Very, very solid. Not much give. It goes down to Marty Williams' side, but all is available. Damon Delindi. Long pass out wide. It's a pretty poor one as Fassi has to go back and collect. He puts a dab through in for Kirkley Aronson. That's going to run out into touch. That's really, really poor from Damon Delindi. He's had a really good game, but that long pass just nowhere near Apalele Fassi. And they're taking it quickly here, have New Zealand. Ball available for Perenaro. Looking for options. Goes on the right-hand side. Rico Awani. Runs to Peter Steph the toy. Now Blackadder, nice big tackle on him, coming in from Jasper Wiese and Ben Jason Dixon. Both of them have been good today. Now, Dan McKenzie lifts his high down the middle of the park. And I don't think they're going to compete. Ashley Fuss goes up and takes it really, really well. Slightly isolated, but Oxen Chair does really well to close out. Now Ben Jason Dixon sees a half gap. That's a terrible pop. And it's come forward and Currie Taylor comes away with it. Knock-on advantage. That'll be knock-on advantage. Oh, JC Creel's come up quickly. But good hands there. I mean, cross. We're just playing. This is like tag rugby now. On the left-hand side, Caleb Clark. It's going to go over here. Terrible reading. Terrible, terrible reading. Both JC Creel and Jason Colby get the read wrong, and New Zealand are over in the corner. That's poor. It's good handling on the All Blacks, but it's far too many just will try and run in front. And this over here is a really poor pop, though, from Ben Jason Dixon. Didn't have his arms free. Should have just kept it. And then over here, Jesse Creel, he goes too quickly. McKenzie does well to hold on to that. And then that's poor from Cheslin Colby there. No need to run in front and try and try and block that pass. And David McKenzie pulling the strings here. Nice hostile environment for Dan McKenzie. 12 points there, kick to come. And I think he's pushed that to the right-hand side here. So I think it will remain a 4-point game. It will indeed. So we got away with one there. Yeah, no, as soon as Colby went up there, it was just a numbers game at the end of the day. And it's been knocked forward from the kickoff, though. So that'll be a scrum for South Africa. Yeah, and that's a nice position to have a scrum, just outside the 22. It's Artie Severe who went up and couldn't take it cleanly. So that's a big opportunity now for the Boks with 6 minutes to go. You get a penalty here, for example. Take the points. You go back to a one-point game. Kickoffs have been a problem for both teams, actually. They've been quite varied, which is quite interesting. We haven't seen a kind of a standard type of kickoff. Right, big scrum here. South African feed right in front of the poles as well. So this would be very, very kickable for Sasha Zulu if we were to manage to find a penalty here at the scrum. It's a pretty solid scrum. Now comes the second shove. Penalty advantage here for the Boks. And Jasper Wiese is going to go on a run. He bounds over Jordy Barry, holds on. Kobus Ranov now takes it himself. Looking to try and snipe. Now Pieter-Steph the toy. I thought we had a penalty advantage, but it doesn't seem so. Sasha Zulu goes to Jesse Creel. And the ball's come forward, I think. And I think we're going to go back for the penalty. Yeah, there's no graphic that said advantage, but I think it was a penalty advantage. So we're going to go back for that. Should be an easy 3 points here. We're silly not to take it. So, yeah, I mean, he pinged it from 60 meters, but I don't think this is going to be too difficult here for Sasha Zulu. Such a talent, isn't he? The young 22-year-old. Right, so this to make it a 1 point game with just over 4 minutes remaining in the first half, or just under actually, rather. And what a half it's been. Proper close. And as expected, no mistakes there from Sasha. And the flags go up, and it goes back to a 1 point game. We've seen that scoreline before. 11 points to 12. The score of that 2023 Rugby World Cup. We were the 12 though. So yeah, let's hope we can get back to being ahead. I'll take a 1 point win. I'd love a 1 point win today. Right, on the left-hand side, Jasper Wiese is there. Takes it well despite the pressure from Caleb Clark. Big counter ruck here from the All Blacks. So they turn the ball over. Really poor cleaning that. Now Dave McKenzie seeing a bit of space. Kurt lines up quickly on Rico Awani. Now Damien Delendi on that ball. And he wins the penalty. Damien Delendi. That's 2 turnovers, by the way, from Damien Delendi. What a player he is. He's really come up with a couple of clutch moments already as the Bok inside centre. You know, all the talk about, you know, who's going to be an inside centre, for example. Could you have Polo at 12? Could you have Sasha at 12? And Damien Delendi saying, guys, I still remain one of, if not the best inside centre in the world. And I think it's quite easy. I think it's quite easy to call him the best inside centre in the world. I can't think of anybody who's really much better, to be honest. That's playing consistently at the moment. Bandiaki during the World Cup was tremendous, but 7 penalties conceded from New Zealand, by the way. A lot of those breakdown, where we've been very good. Ben Jason Dixon, by the way, has been replaced. So, and ball at the top, straight to Sasha Zulu, by the way, off the back of the line out. Pops up to Jasper Wiese. Jasper Wiese is still going. That's a big call. So Ben Jason Dixon has been replaced by Ball on the top for Jason Colby. Oh, he's sore, by the way, I think. There's been a bit of a tap on him. So, Roanoke here is back, but they've elected to leave Eben Netzebeth on. So, Jason Dixon's game comes to an end. Interesting decision. And will be an All Black line just by the 5 meter line. So PSF the toy now will, by the way, shift back to flank. So that means the rule here, by the way, will go the distance, which is an interesting decision. I don't actually know if I agree with that. I think Ben Jacobs is having a good game. Chisholm Colby, by the way, does take it quickly. Fires out to Apple Fussy. Fussy with a bit of space. Going on a run there. Big hit on him. Ball available there for Kubus Ranak. And he almost needs a bit of space for himself to go through up toward the 22. Less than a minute left on the clock here. Fussy comes in at scrum off. And that's Pavisa carries well. Now Kubus Ranak back to his feet. Goes back to Sasha. He's going to go for the drop goal. And it's to the left, unfortunately. Nice idea. Nice idea. Could have been us in the lead. But just to the left, I think. Right, we will receive so we have final 20 minutes ready to have a go. Goes deep, underneath it. He lifts his high in the air. Sasha Montgomery's going to give chase here. It's just outside the 22. It's good to take that from Bowden Barrett. And he's going to kick it out and touch. But the hoot hasn't gone yet, so we should still have a line out. And they reckon it's carried back as well. So it should be a block line. It is going to be a block line out. Yeah, there's time on the line to Andrew Brace. So this has worked out really nicely here from the box. It's a great take, that, from Ruan Nokia. I suppose that's a big plus for having him on the line. He remains a line option. Ball's available there from Bongi Manambi. Comes around, goes Stellar. He goes short to Jesse Creel. We haven't seen much of Jesse Creel with ball in hand today. Chisholm Colby picks up and goes. Almost getting around one player. Just brought down. Now, fast by Herbert. Goes the direct route. Penalty will be perfect here for the box. It's kind of what they're playing for. It's Etzebeth now. Brought down by Tupo Vai. Kubus Ranak goes to PSF the toy. He's on a bit of a run there. Good tackle coming from him. And it's knocked on from Kubus Ranak. That's so frustrating. Good momentum there from the box. They'll have it go for a ball. They'll go in feeling that they kind of might have had, should have been maybe been ahead. What a half that is, by the way. Absolutely exhilarating rugby. It's 12 points to 11. The All Blacks do lead 2 tries to 1. Sasha Montgomery to do with 2 penalties there, along with a controversial missed conversion. A bit of a controversial try as well, though, so we're not going to get too upset as South African fans, I think. I'd love to see that. We're going to be able to see that try a bit better now at half time. And be able to really get to grips with whether maybe should have been disallowed, should not have been disallowed. We'll get some more feedback on that. But first of all, please do smash a like on the video, by the way. We're going to close the poll. 2,300 people have voted. Majority of people saying that the Boks are going to win this clash. 83%, in fact. We've got over 1,400 people watching. We've only got 287 likes. Let's see if we can get to that 400 likes margin, as well as see if we can get up to that 75,000 subscribers, because we are really, really close. In fact, we need less than 100 to get to that big 75,000 number, which we've been trying to get to all year. So if you are new to the channel, make sure you subscribe to it, because you can get all the latest news, for example, become part of a great community, yeah, you know, just come and join the lads. But we're going to go into half time. We have a bit of a break, and we'll see you guys in just a bit.
Hello and welcome, my name is Reese, and today I'm going to be speaking to you about one of our channel partners, BITDEFENDER. Forever Sports is proudly supported by BITDEFENDER, one of the global leaders in cybersecurity. Stay safe with the most consistently top-rated antivirus of the last 10 years and counting. To protect yourself from cyber attacks, protect your browsing and personal information, and so much more, get BITDEFENDER. With BITDEFENDER's premium VPN, digital privacy and freedom is as easy as flicking on a light switch. Bank, stream, and download without exposing a single byte of personal information. Unblock your favorite streaming sites and get access to content that you want to watch on up to 10 devices today. Effective, invisible, and amazingly affordable. Use the link in the description to get started. Hello everyone and welcome to Forever Sports. As one of the leading channels in the world providing free coverage of all of your favourite sports, we are asking for your support. Everything that we create at Forever Sports is available for free and always will be. To help us continue delivering high quality content, as well as expanding our coverage, we are asking you to consider supporting the channel by becoming a channel member. As part of the Forever Sports Members Club, you will gain access to select perks, such as exclusive stickers and emojis to use during our watchalongs and live streams. You will also gain early access to premium content, as well as have your name listed on the channel under channel members. We strive to deliver quality content that is unmatched by other channels, and are always looking to take things up another level. And our members give us the chance to do this. It is thanks to our members and other support that we get from our fans that we are able to deliver campaigns such as the France 2023 on the ground coverage. So if you would like to continue supporting the channel and the free coverage that it provides, be sure to check the link in the description to become a channel member now. Hello and welcome, my name is Reese and today I'm going to be speaking to you about one of our channel partners, BITDEFENDER. Forever Sports is proudly supported by BITDEFENDER, one of the global leaders in cybersecurity. Stay safe with the most consistently top-rated antivirus of the last 10 years and counting. To protect yourself from cyber attacks, protect your browsing and personal information, and so much more, get BITDEFENDER. With BITDEFENDER's premium VPN, digital privacy and freedom is as easy as flicking on a light switch. Bank, stream, and download without exposing a single byte of personal information. Unblock your favorite streaming sites and get access to content that you want to watch on up to 10 devices today. Effective, invisible, and amazingly affordable. Use the link in the description to get started.
Right, and we are back for the second half, kicking off very, very shortly, and it's going to be, I'm a bit confused as to why the time is still going. It's about to be the second half, so we'll try and get that working. But yeah, we're back for the second half. 11 points to 12 is how things currently stand, and goodness me, what a half rugby it was. Sasha Zulu has got the ball in hand and we'll get things back underway. Springboks were playing right to left in the second half and expect us to hopefully see a big impact when that bomb squad comes on, which I don't think it will be pretty shortly. Evan Etzebeth has remained on. He was an early substitute for the blood bin of Ronald Kerr, who then came on and replaced Ben Jason Dixon. And it's almost a bit of a fumble there from Tuba Vai off the kickoff. Kurt Lawrence was giving chase on that left-hand side. And TJ Perrinar taking his time now at the ruck, goes to Scott Barrett, his captain. Very interested to see how both teams use their bench It's a 1 point game, so you score first, for example, no matter what kind of points it is, you'll go into the lead. If you're South Africa, you'll further your lead if you are the All Blacks. So I think it's just so important to get an early try here and get the momentum going once again. We started off not great. We went behind early and then really responded well to that. And since then, we've had moments. I don't think we've been outplayed, for example. I think we've actually been really solid. But you just need to start taking opportunities, which has kind of been a common theme so far this year. Anyway, Sasha Zulu goes to David Delendi, who is intercepted by Jordy Barrett. Jordy Barrett's going to go over. Is he going to go over? Does he have the pace? I think he does. And that's exactly what we didn't need. The worst possible start. So telegraphed. We've done that before. We try it again. It's not been there. The timing's not been there. Jordy Barrett reads it like an absolute book. So bad. Oh, it's so bad. And Damon Delendi, who's been so good this game, is just gifted the All Blacks 7 points. That you would have, you spend the entire half time talking about starting well, intensity, getting on the front foot, scoring first, and then you dish up that. That is so disappointing. Oh, dear me. Right, well, now we're going to have to start a bit better now. Sasha is back at the centre park, and we are now 8 points behind New Zealand. The Ellis Park curse. Let's hope that it doesn't rear its head once again. Slightly deeper, and Damien Kinsey underneath. A good tackle there from Kurt Lawrence. Ibn Etzebeth goes through and steals the ball really well. That's good work now. Oxenchair goes to Jasper Visa. Come on, man. Hit back, boys. Ronald goes to Oxenchair. Look at the intent there from him. Ibn Etzebeth, he made that great turnover. Reinhardt now, popping up to Jasper Visa. Brought down by TJ Perrinard. Pick up and go from Pierce Steph the Toy. Much better this year from the box. Slow ball here for Kobus Reinhardt. I think Caleb Clark was up quickly there, actually. Didn't impact players, so that's why there's no advantage. Reinhardt wants to go himself, and he's caught on the ball by Sam Kane. And a penalty advantage here for the box. Pick up and go for his Steph Toy. He goes to Bruno here, who goes to Cheslin Colby. Cheslin Colby looking for a bit of space. Cheslin Colby goes, bang, sit down, Scott Barrett. Now Reinhardt goes, and it's been knocked on. We'll go back for the penalty. I would personally take the scrum. Take the scrum, yeah. Fussy thinking about taking it quickly. Thankfully doesn't. But take the scrum. What's unreal is that Jasper Visa was the one area of concern. People were talking about the fact he hasn't played a lot of rugby, he's been on the sides. What a game he is having at the moment. And yeah, that bounce from Cheslin Colby. Sit down, Scott Barrett. Well, here they come. Here comes the bomb squad. There is Grant Williams, Malcolm Marks. That is Vincent Koch. Yeah, as the sign says, the bomb squad is on. You need like a little graphic, like a wow type of thing. Just come on when the bomb squad comes on. Vincent Koch, Steenekamp on as well. And we're going to need a hell of an impact from them. Trying to sort out the timer at the moment and the tracker. It's a good take that from Ronald here. Looking for the rolling more here. One stop is the call. You're going to have to use it now. And he pops it up, and Grant Williams goes to Damien Delendi. Penalty advantage here for the box. Karas Steenekamp, his first carry of the day. Pierce the toy, pick up and go. Fighting in the tackle. Albert Low on as well, by the way. Grant Williams goes to Sasha Gomezulu, then loses it forward, but there was a penalty advantage. I've got to try and work out who stayed on here. The only player that hasn't come on is Andre Pollard. So Albert Low's on, and was that the end of Jasper Wiese, or has he stayed on? Sia Khaleesi's definitely gone off. I think. No, he's actually still there. So Kwaka Smith's still on. So I think Jasper Wiese has been replaced here. What a game he had. Goodness me. Properly shut up any sort of doubts that he wasn't ready. And I think they've called for the points here. Not sure it's the right decision. We've just brought on the bomb squad there. Strange decision that. So he popped it over to Sasha Gomezulu. So he's going to make it a 5-point game. But I think we had momentum there. Well, Damon Kane's lifted high in the air. Very well taken by Eamon Etzebeth, who was lifted high in the air by Chaos Steenekamp. Right, 46 minutes. His knees on the ground, has to release. It's interesting that Sia is still on. And then Artie Sevilla goes and wins a penalty. By a stupid eye, actually, I think it was. And they could take a 3 here, which I reckon they'll probably do. And Steenekamp there goes off his feet. I think it's the call. They're going to take the 3 points. And that's why I said we should have gone for the scrum. I thought we had the momentum. We had just brought on the bomb squad. That's the kind of, like, psychologically, that's a big move. You know, you bring on all the replacements and you say, right, now we're going to take a scrum. God bless me. Right, Dan McKenzie, 20 seconds left on the clock. Makes no mistake. Right. They restore that 3-point lead. Well, they restore the 3 points of the lead to make it an 8-point lead. I don't know why, but nothing annoys me more than a South African All Blacks fan. And Rico Wani now takes it. And Kurt Lawrence is down. Not particularly happy. No, he's going to be... That's gone. That's gone. There's an HIA. PSF the toy is signaling it. And that's going to be the end of Curtly Lawrence. So that means that Hodja Pollard's going to have to replace them. Very interesting to see what happens here. Because Curtly Lawrence has gone down. I think this is a definite HI at the absolute minimum. Yeah, as soon as he got up and he stumbled there, you can see that was the end of his game. Right, so here comes Andre Pollard. Interesting to see how we do things here. We could see Pollard shift to go to 12, for example, and then see Delaney shift to 13, Jesse Creel go to the wing. The other alternative is that Pollard goes 10, Sasha goes to 15, and Fassi goes into the wing. That's what I would do. That was the way I would probably do it. But very, very interesting to see now what we do. Right. Penalty advantage there from Grant Williams, doing well there. Now, Evan Etzebeth, very interested to see how we lined up here. I want to see us go to the back line just so I can see what the plan is here. Grant Williams looking for options, pops it up short to Albert Lowe. So the only 2 players remaining on the bench is Quacker Smith, who might now have to stay on the bench a bit longer as well, because he's the only person that's there. Malcolm Marks to Sasha. Sasha still in the 10 channel. It's another interception. But I say we had an advantage here, Andrew. Yeah, warning not coming to Scott Barrett. Sia Khaleesi, he's actually, he wants to have a conversation with Andrew Brace. He's talking about the fact that there's been too many penalties here. So it looks like Sasha's still operating at 10. Don't take the points here, boys. Take a scrum. Yeah, here comes. It's very interesting. So we're going to put Quacker Smith on regardless. This is now emptying the bench. Who's he going to come on for? I imagine he's on for Sia Khaleesi. That's usually where he comes on for. Albert Lowe is currently packing down at 8. Look at the stash there. Well, I assume Khaleesi's staying on if he's still getting patched up here. So the only other player you're bringing off here would be a Pieter-Steph du Toit. Surely you're not bringing him off unless you're bringing Quacker on for a backline player. Very, very confused as to what's going to happen here. Well, wait to see what Quacker Smith's going to come on for here. Very, very interested to see. Because Sia Khaleesi looks like he's staying on. He's still got blood jet. Sia Khaleesi is not happy about something, yeah. And he's saying to Andrew Brace, I don't know if he got a punch or something. I mean, so I think they did find something, and they're going to go there because I think they're going to want to go to touch. So taking the points here. I'm not convinced about this, guys. Got momentum yet. I know got a lot of time to play, I suppose. You've got still got about half an hour still left. Penalty was against Sam Kane, apparently. Right, so Sasha Gomez is going to take the points here. The time is 50 minutes, by the way. I'm hoping to try and get my tracker back up, but it was very, very delayed. I'm not quite sure what's happening there. I'm trying to work out. We're busy trying to speak to our data provider to find out what the situation is and why it is so far behind. And he adds the 3 to Sasha Gomez. So we'll go back to a 5-point margin. So I'm going to try and bring up a bigger clock vest for you guys. I hate it, absolutely hate it when things don't work. Do you take that from Murdoch here from the kickoff? Now on the right hand side, we got Jesse Creel. Jesse Creel seems to have gone to the wing here, by the way. I mentioned that was an option. Damien Delende goes to, and he's knocked it on there. Damien Delende goes to outside centre, Pollard to inside centre, and Jesse Creel goes onto the wing. Interesting option. Not sure I altogether agree with it. Well, here comes Quacker Smith, and Sia Khaleesi still seems to be staying on. And it's Ruan Nokia. Okay, that makes sense, to be fair. So basically what's going to happen, Ronald Kier is off, which means that Peter Steph will go back into the second row, Quacker Smith will go into the flank. Khaleesi's going to play 80 minutes here. He never plays 80 minutes. Very, very interesting. So Quacker Smith will go to the back of the scrum, although Ulrich Lowe looks like he's going to line up there now. Sia's going to play a full 80, so that's going to be an interesting one. I couldn't tell you the last time Sia played a full 80 for the Boks. And yeah, no New Zealand replacements just yet. Big scrum that Peter Perrin eventually used the Caleb Clark. We haven't seen much of him with ball in hand. Runs into Pollard and Sasha Fangomazulu. Big counter-back not coming from the box. Perrin eventually goes to Artie Severe. Albert Lowe up there quickly. Doing well as well to roll. Back to Dane McKenzie. McKenzie goes to the boot. And I think it's just too far. Fussy will mark this. He will mark it. It is a bit too far, that from Dane McKenzie. A rare mistake from him. He's been pretty solid. And Fussy, I don't think that's the best clearance. No, he's found about 10 meters. So it'll be attacking a line out here for New Zealand inside of the Bok territory. Over the top, almost a bit of a hash to the line. Now McKenzie shifts to Damon. Jesse Creel needs to try and shift here. Fussy comes up quickly. Space for Caleb Clark. He's going to go to the corner. He is. Where was the defense? Where was the defense? It's like we're playing with a man down. Absolutely dreadful. And this is why I keep saying we've taken the 3 points twice now. Fussy needs to back Jesse Creel there. Really, really poor that. And that could be a killer blow, to be honest. Still long to play, but that's just not looking good at all. And McKenzie has missed it, thankfully. It's a 10-point margin. Stop taking the 3, boys. You actually have to score some tries now. Yeah, no, the Bok defense system there completely compromised. Now, Sasha puts it high in the air down the middle of the park. Even Edsmith is there too. It's a great take from Geordie Barrett. Perinard goes back to McKenzie. Shifts it down the right side to Barrett. Bowden will find touch. And it's a good touch finder. It's a great touch finder. But it's carried back. So it's a massive mistake from him actually in the end. It will be a Backline. Come on, boys. Score try here. Get the conversion and make it a 3-point game here. You need us to wake up here. Come on, boys. Let's see this bomb squad. And it's straight through the hands of PSF the toy. When do we ever see that? Now it's starting to feel like one of those games, isn't it? McKenzie will clear. Will Kopitar quickly? I think he has. Now Fussy, not too many options. Goes to the cross towards Jesse Creel. It's a pretty good one as well. Jesse Creel there. Steps inside. Brodenborough puts the hammer down. Goes to the butcher. Albert Lowe's going to give chase. Dane McKenzie to clean up here. This is actually not great work here for the Boks. So now it's starting to be a little bit compromised. Grant Williams makes a good tackle. And throws back inside. Tua Lomax goes to Dane McKenzie. Bok defense is coming up here. Geordie Barrett goes to the boot. He won't find touch. Can't find touch. And he goes to Sasha Fangomazulu. He hammers it down the left-hand side. Looking for 50-22. And it's pammered backwards by Tubo Vai. Then knocked forward maybe by Will Jordan. He is knocked forward. There we go. Better. I don't think he agrees with that, does Will Jordan, but the knock-on has been given. It's interesting, still no subs here from the All Blacks, by the way. The Boks have completely emptied their bench. Right, big scrum this year from the box. Win the penalty, go to the corner, score a try. Come, lads. Calm heads here. This is, to be fair, we back the experience here. Sia's going to stay on, for example. We took Ben J. Dixon off. There's a lot of World Cup winners on the park at the moment. In fact, in the pack, the only person who's not a World Cup winner is Albert Lowe and Gerard Steenekamp. So there's only two out of 8. In the back line, it's just Sasha and Fussy. 11 World Cup winners on the park at the moment. A lot of those double World Cup winners as well. Right, we talked about a replacement, and there is the first sub for New Zealand. Tamati Williams gives away, and Ofatunga Farsi comes onto the park. That intercept try was so annoying. Look, to be fair, I suppose it cancels out the potential knock-on that we saw in the first try. So, yeah, I mean, bit of a gift that. You got to score next year, boys. Convert a try, puts us within 3. Okay, big scrum, yeah, boys. Big scrum. Gonna have a reset. And Chisholm Colby is lurking on the left shoulder of Sasha Farmingom. Has really got Andre Pollard inside center, Damien at outside. Come on, big scrum, big scrum, big scrum. Very well met here by the All Blacks. Now comes the second shove. Ball's available. Use it as Grant Williams. We're gonna have another scrum. Eventually, a bit of dominance coming. I'll take a bit of confidence out of that. They called use it, and then the scrum rolled. So it will be another put in for the box. That looks like a better hit from the box. Working really hard to try and find a second shove, yeah. User as the call here from Grant Williams. There you go, David. Andre Pollard, first receiver. Nice and solid there from Pollard. Grant Williams now looking for options. Goes to Albert Lowe. Helped up by Quacker Smith. Pick up and go here from Peter Steph the tour. He's going to make a meter or two into the 22. Attempted rip there from Artie Sevier. Grant Williams sniping. And Albert Lowe almost through. Is through. Eventually brought down by Sam Kane. Discipline needed now. Quacker Smith. Line up by Ofatunga fast, but carries well. And then Grant Williams knocks it on. Come on, man. So inaccurate at the moment. And the ball, ball just being dislodged. Taking his eyes off the ball, knocking it almost Grant Williams. Massive moment. You see, you've got to try to get back into this game here. We put the bomb squad really early because, and that's fine, but we need to see the impact here now, boys. Right, now Fletcher Newell on for Tara Lombacks, who scrummed really well. So, in theory, even the box scrum is probably a bit tighter because they've been on a bit longer. But interesting to see now how Fletcher Newell goes. He's a younger player. Tara Lomax is by far their best tight head. Very, very good scrummager. It'll be interesting to see how the scrum goes here. Argentina Cup really needs to try and get Fletcher Newell a big, a proper shove here and try and put pressure on him. Yeah, I think he's somewhere that we can have a go at. 9 handling errors from South Africa. 9. Very, very solid. No give there whatsoever. Perinara goes back to Dan McKenzie's going to look to find touch. And does find touch. All the way back towards the halfway line, yep. $22 minutes or 21 minutes remaining. 10 points the difference. Got to find a try quickly. Get us back in this game. Build a little bit of momentum at the moment. You score one more try, you can do the rest with the penalties. 16 lines won, though, from South Africa. At least that part of the game has been a lot better than we've seen during the Rugby Championship. And as I said, the ball goes straight over the top into the hands of Cody Taylor. Now Jordie Barrett pumps it downfield. Up really fast, he's back. What's he going to conjure up? He's going to kick and chase himself. And he's regathered brilliantly. Up really fast. And Kwaka Smith is there. He puts it to the boot. Jesse Creel's coming up here. Will Jordan is there. He gets up. And he's chipped it ahead. Who wants it? Who wants it? Who wants it? Picked up by Sasha Zulu. Bit of space. Comes inside. Jesse Creel's there. He worked really hard throughout that. And leave it as the call. Just outside 22 now. Malcolm Marks now. Haven't really seen him carry much today. Such good work that from up here fast. Now on the left-hand side. Sasha decides to dab it through. It's just going to run out. That's perfect. 5-meter line up for New Zealand. Perfect work that from Sasha Zulu. Better. The line-out was shocking, but the way he responded was really good. Such an interesting kick from Apple Fassi because he regathered without a challenge. The New Zealand players kind of just stopped playing. And now we've got an injury here from Sia Khaleesi. He's going to go off, by the way. And it's an HIA, so at least he will be able to be replaced. I imagine Riona Keir's back onto the park, okay? Four-man line here for the All Blacks. They're going to go to the back of it. That's a pretty good one. Scott Barrett. Ollie Severe now. Malcolm Marks is lurking for that turnover. Penalty, though, for New Zealand for not rolling away. It's against Pieter-Steph du Toit. It's a free exit for them. That's frustrating. That's really, really frustrating. "90 minutes. It's getting ominous. This is getting ominous. Currie Taylor goes right over the back, and it's backwards apparently. Scott Barrett comes away with it, so All Blacks still have it on the halfway line. Perinara looking for options. Dave McKenzie goes to the boot. Jesse Creel's up there. It's really well taken from Caleb Clark. Burden Barrett goes to McKenzie. McKenzie, good work there from Pieter-Steph du Toit. They get the offload with Currie Taylor. Gets it away to Tupou Vai. Now space on the right hand side for Will Jordan. Will Jordan steps inside. Chesson Coley makes a good tackle. Past the 10-meter line. Perinara, quick ball. Goes to Burden Barrett looking for options. He goes to McKenzie. McKenzie goes to Jordie Barrett. Jordie Barrett sees the space in behind, and he does find touch. Defensive line for South Africa. Now this is just textbook game management here from the All Blacks. And the Boxers basically didn't come back from half time. Is the best way of describing it. We gifted them an early try, conceded a second. They've taken 3 points. 6 points. 6 points. Let me be fair. 6 points. Come on, lads. Start upping the ante here. Could take that from Eben. Grant Williams, show and go, under pressure, goes to go himself. Concede the penalty. Grant, what are you doing? That's really, really poor. Grant not releasing the pass, going himself, completely isolated, concedes the penalty, and now the All Blacks are 5 meters out. Right, so Antonio Brown's gonna come on for Rico Awani. I mean, look at this. He could have released it as well. And the forwards just aren't there, they're not ready for it. And it's an easy penalty. It's a good take that from Tupavai. Back inside to RDCV as well read in the end. Now, Blackadder. Score now and the game's all but done. Fletcher Newell. Quacker Smith. Goes over and says, thank you very much. It's what he does so well as Quacker Smith. And Sasha will clear. And he's hammered it downfield. I don't know how much it's, he's found. Sasha not impressed, to say the least, about where the linesman decided that went off. Obviously at the front of the line, Perinara goes to Rico Awani. I thought Rico Awani was off, actually. Adelaide Brown's on, but he's stayed on. And Geordie Barristol on as well. Could be Bowden that's gone off. Good hands this year. McKenzie finding space. Good tackle that Rico Awani coming from JC Creel. Good read from him. And a big contest on the ground there. I don't know. I think we've actually come away with it. Quacker Smith has come away with it. He's single-handedly trying to drag us back into the game. Grant Williams goes to Kipitsov. Long pass out from Pollard to Fassi with a bit of space. Fassi got Colby around him. Shows the goes. Puts it to the boot. Go, Cheslin! It's just gone out. Got to try and get them. Put his feet on that. Fassi's playing well. Just running out. Oh, dear. Kane says, well done, 70k. Oh, we had 70k. 75k. There we are. Oh, well, there we go. And so focused on. Appreciate that. Thank you very much. Well, thank you to everybody who's joined us. We are past that, which is a nice moment. But right now, I'd very much sacrifice 75k for a win, which is looking ominous at the moment, to say the least. 15 minutes left and not in this game at all. Right, Cortez Rasimer is gone. Mark Talea is on for Will Jordan. That's an interesting sub in itself. Nice player. And I'll tell you what, Cam Roygard comes back. He's going to absolutely eat up that All Blacks number 9 jersey. And Curry Taylor also replaced by Safa Amour. Right, come on now. If ever we needed a line on steel, this would be now. Now it's a good line to Tupa via. Lines have been good here from the All Blacks. Well, what a couple of dodgy ones. To be fair, the lines have been pretty good both sides. And Ratimer, I tell you what, he charged down and it's been turned over. Vincent Koss come away with it. Oh, there's a lot of hands in there, ref. Now turned over. And eventually going to come back, and it's a penalty. I think it's a penalty against the All Blacks. Yeah, eventually the call comes from the side. I'll tell you what, I think Andrew Brace's in for a long week. I don't think people have appreciated his refereeing so far today. Yeah, very, very strange. Couple strange calls. Now we're going to the line here. Got to score. Got to score quickly here. Nokia, good take that from him. Looking for the rolling more, not getting any ascendancy here. The forwards really haven't had the dominance that we're used to. Once is the call, so Marks needs to go. Now still going is Malcolm. Still going, still going, still going, still going, still going. SBS now got it. Penalty advantage for the box. Is the ball going to be available? It is available there. Right, penalty for box. 5 meters out now. Come on, lads. Come on, lads. And there's finally going to be a yellow card. So many penalties, and finally we're going to see a yellow card. This is a big moment in the game now, and it's off for Tuangafasi as well, so they use the front rower. Right, 5 meters out, and then now I play it down. It's got to score here. Right, Malcolm Marks. First things first. Hit the man. They do. Ronald Kirk goes up and takes it well. Malcolm Marks now to the get the ball back. Now shove. Once is the call. Goes himself. Gets Malcolm Marks around Andrew Brace as well. 5 minutes out. Quick ball needed from Grant Williams. Pops up to Vincent Koch, who was a bit of a hospital pass, really. PSF the toy picks up and goes. He's been doing it all week as PSF the toy. All day, rather. Colby goes to Etzebeth. Come on, boys. Another pick up and go. 2 meters out. Pick up and go. He's already through. Quacker Smith. Come on. Well, the stream's gone down, but it's Quacker Smith who comes out. I told you, he was single-handedly dragging us back in the game. Come on. Game's alive. Quacker Clutch Smith. Yo, Quacker, the absolute GOAT. Right, and the conversion's good. 3-point game, 11 minutes, man advantage. Come on, lads. So good. Ooh, here we go, boys. Here we go. Right, Sam Day onto the park for Ethan Blackadder. Interesting, that means he'll probably go onto the... Could go on the flank. Well, Scott Barrett's also playing the flank, so he could also shift there. Dane McKenzie goes deep. Albert Glow underneath it. He's going to run a bit of steam. Bang! Sit down! Sam Penny Final gets seated by Albert Glow. Now Grant Williams goes to the boot. I don't think he's supposed to kick that out. I think he's supposed to try and stay in. And Geordie Barrett goes out. There'll be a Springbok line out. Starting to feel a little bit of momentum shifting now. Come on, lads. Come on, lads. Good line from Roanoke here. He's been really good line time today. Now Quacker Smith in the midfield. Runs into Sam Kane and Artie Sevier. Good tackle from them. Artie Sevier still playing the scrum. He hasn't released, by the way, Andrew. Sasha Gomez really goes high in the air. Jesse Creel's up there to compete with Caleb Clark. Comes off the band, back to Roanoke here. Goes to up there Fussy. Now Fussy sees a bit of space. Mark Salaire's going to have to go back. Chesney Colby leads the chase. Now Dane McKenzie. Almost charged down. That was Roanoke here that was there, actually. And we're not going to take it quickly. Or are we? We have taken it quickly. Now, Sasha Gomez is trying to switch that 50-22. Damien McKenzie is there. He won't find touch. Sasha now, he's got options. He's got Fussy to the left or right of him. He puts it in the air. Fussy's going to give chase here. Jordy Barrett now. Pops it up to Sam Kane. All Blacks possession inside their own half. Amour. Brought down by Andre Pollard. Quagga Smith was lurking. In fact, it's Albert Lowe, actually, who was at the breakdown there. Now, Dave McKenzie seeing a bit of space on that right-hand side. Safari Gomezulu reads it well. He returns the favour. Searching for a 50-22. But actually bounced inside of Bowden Barrett. He's just spent a bit of time. He's going to find clearance. And eventually finds touch. Should be between the 10 metre and the 22. Nice tacking opportunity this year from the box. I'm aging here. I'm aging. I'm going to have Viliru go hairs by the end of the stream here. Well, the crowd is trying to drag them through the final 8 minutes. 3 points will draw it. A try would win it. And 7.5 minutes left to go. Come on, lads. It really is a penalty. We want to look here once again. We're going for the rolling more here. Which New Zealand generally defended pretty well. One stop is the call. Mark's going to give this to Grant Williams. Use it, Grant. Use it. Use it, Grant. Penalty advantage. Never mind. Now you can use it. Goes to Chesney Colby. Penalty advantage, boys. Free roll the dice. Albert Lowe. Come on, lads. Pick up and go here from Peter Steph. The toy almost through. Go back. Come on. Go to the line. Come on, lads. Come on, lads. Could be decision time yet, to be fair. Off for Tunga Fast. He watches on very, very nervously. They are going to go for the line here. Side entry at the ruck at the maul is the call. No way has he done it. Are you? I would have kicked it dead. Sasha, you biscuit. He's put us 5 meters out. Come on, lads. 5 meter line out here for the buggers. Yo, I thought he was going to kick it dead. Goodness me. Surely that's an early shot, but we've got momentum here. If we can move. Come on, go. Go. Malcolm Knox, just short. Ball available. Pierce F the toy. Just short. Quagga Smith pick up and go. Also just short. Grant Williams goes himself. Yes, come on. Come on. Grant Williams. South Africa ahead with 5.5 to play. Scott Robertson fuming. Rossi beaming. Steve dying. Oh my goodness. This could be a smash and grab in the most spectacular of fashions. Look at this for a try. He sells the dummy and then it's an illustrious dive and he almost doesn't get over actually. Bang! Now there's a dive. That if someone's got that photo of him diving, that's going to be iconic. 2-point lead. Sasha's got 20 more seconds to run this down, and there's defend, boys. That yellow card could prove so costly. He adds the 2 extras, which means that they need more than a penalty to win. A significant conversion. Not a difficult conversion, but a significant one. Look at those celebrations on the side. What could it mean to Khaleesi? Now, exit. Albert Lowe, well taken. Oh, he steps away from Martelay. Still going as Albert Lowe. What a take from the kickoff. That is great work that from Albert Lowe. Now we just pump this as far as possible. Put this into the stratosphere here, Grant. Bang. Cheslin giving chase. Jordy Barrett. Good chase that from Quagga Smith. Now Dane McKenzie looking for options. And the door closes on him, thankfully. He looks so dangerous with the ball in the hands, Dane McKenzie. Sam Derry now goes direct. And Malcolm Ox has ripped it in the tackle as well. Kira Stillick's come away with it. Come, Gerard. but completely isolated. And penalty, though, for coming around the side. Take the 3, boys. Take the 3. Come on, man. Yeah. Yeah. This is going to be huge. Smash and grab in the most spectacular fashion coming up. Yeah, side entry from Artie Sevilla. Didn't come through the gates. Correct call. Three points left. 3 minutes, 3 points. 3 minutes left. He's missed it. He's completely shanked that. That's actually so important because that would have made it a 5-pointer. Right, Daniel McKenzie, 2.5 minutes left on the clock. Goes wide. Jesse Creel takes it so well. And I think he's managed to stay in as well, you know. Oh, that's phenomenal work from Jesse Creel. Whatever, he's had a couple of bad moments, but that take right there might have just alleviated from everything. Now, high, Shizan Colby's going to give chase. Put pressure on Daniel McKenzie. McKenzie takes it. Give off slows to Mark Talea. Colby back on his feet. Hunter Pollard's there. Brings him down. Albert Lowe's there. Just keep them inside their own half. Chip over the top from Bowden Barrett. Nobody really giving chase. Grant Williams fumbles it, then regathers. We've got the ball back, though. Ball available. Uses the call. Malcolm Marks goes short to Vincent Koch. 90 seconds left. Back to Sasha Ngomazulu. He goes to that left-hand side. Deep to Mark Talea. He can mark it if he wants to. He won't. Back inside to Geordie Barrett. They don't want to kick it. Rico Arnie now looking for options. Kirstenacom gets up and makes a good tackle. Very nice work that from the big loose head. Use it as the call. Still inside there in 22. And on the bounce to Finau. Knock-on advantage here for the All Blacks. Pick up and go for Ollie Sevilla, almost through. Door closes eventually. Talea goes quickly to Fletcher Newell. Pops it up to Damian McKenzie. To Bowden Barrett. Barrett chips over the top. On the bounce to Sasha Ngomazulu. He gets off of Rico Arnie. Ball available. 40 seconds left. Sasha, he's been phenomenal at times today. Absolutely phenomenal. Ball available. 30 seconds left. The crowd is absolutely rocking. Etzebeth just waits for the then he drives forward. Clever from him. Ball available. 15 seconds. It's in the bag, ladies and gentlemen. It's in the bag. One more phase, and that should be it. Vincent Koch. Come on! Come on! And that is it. Final score, 31 points to 27. Well, it's Ellis Park. So a smash and grab makes sense. What a game. What a moment. Goodness me. That was epic. Absolutely epic. The Boks, it wasn't their best performance. At times it looked like it was going to be one of those days. But when they needed it the most, the pack finally, really, genuinely, and I say that very, very, very meaningfully, finally stood up and found that bit of dominance. Yellow card was massive in the end for New Zealand, but what a result that is. Absolutely mental scenes. Well, people, that's phenomenal. We're gonna shift over now to the player rating show. Basically, what happens there is we go through the entire list of South African players and we give them ratings between 1 and 10. So come and join us on that show. This will redirect you there. You don't have to do anything. You can just stay on the stream. We'll start that literally immediately. So we'll see you over there. Basically, what happens, we start with a bit of a review of the game, and then we get going with the player rating show. So we'll see you there very, very shortly. Smash like on the video, subscribe to the channel as well, and we'll see you guys in just a little bit. Hello everybody and welcome to Forever Rugby on Forever Sports. Scenes at Ellis Park. The Boks have beaten the All Blacks 31 points to 27, coming from 9 points, I think it was at one stage behind, or 8 points behind, 10 points in fact actually, we were behind, in an absolutely epic encounter. It had it all. It had great tries, it had big moments, it had what sounds like one of the most electrifying atmospheres. The entire week we spoke about this becoming a potential all-timer in terms of the type of game this could be. And goodness me, did it deliver. Absolutely.